Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fearless Floyd Show. As always, I am your host, Fearless Floyd, and today is Friday. Thank God, right? After that short week with Easter, and if you're like me, you encountered people who started celebrating Easter like in the middle of last week. So go Easter! I wore my pink shirt for Easter. Which reminds me, my 24-hour flash sale. I extended it because I got some contacts from some potential customers that they don't get paid till 5 o'clock Friday. Can you like take care of me whenever? And I was like, well, at one I was like, okay, and then I got more, and I was like, well, I might as well just extend this till Monday, all through the weekend, give everybody time to catch up from Easter, short work week, et cetera, et cetera. I know people would like to get out and enjoy the weather as much as possible. So, is what it is. As you see, let me even throw that up for you guys. There it is. So I'm going to run it Thursday through Monday. Again, over 50% off select items. So go check it out. FearlessFloydShow.com is the store. There's the actual icon, what you're looking for. And as you see from the title, with our FBI director, Kash Patel. Give me 1 second. There we go. Whoops. So we're going to cover these three folks right here, but I put this in there myself. This is my opinion, because it's been 100 days since Trump was inaugurated. And honestly, I never really followed Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. I didn't see them when they were on other people's shows, didn't know their narrative. Once they got nominated, of course, little snippets came out of, them talking all that smack about, they knew where the bodies are buried and the skeletons are at. And, day one, we can't wait. We're going to come out with our napkin tucked in our collar and knife and fork, and we're ready to chow down. But, yeah, here we are, 100 days in. We really haven't seen anything, have we? Which kind of sucks. So it makes me wonder, what's the real deal here, Floyd? Why haven't they done some things that would clearly be patently obvious to us? I mean, I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine anything other than, than these fine folks right here. I mean, they haven't had, anything to do with our prior economy, or, people dying, human trafficking, drug smuggling, money laundering. And that's just a small list right there. So let's run through that all-star team again. There's the illustrious Chuck Schumer, Mr. Crackhead himself. That guy looks like a robot. And for those of you who have no idea who that is, that's the guy who unlocked the border and told everybody, come on in. Everything's fine down here. There's nothing to see here. What do you mean there's 20 million people coming in around me? No, I don't see a thing. Nah, everything's safe and secure down here. Well, there's a little problem, but we need to change laws and we need more money. Why do the Democrats always need more money? Gotta wonder, huh? Gotta wonder why they need more money, especially that guy. So we're back to these folks in Cash Patel, because you would have thought that they would have gone in there like a Terminator on day one, but we haven't seen that. So I have to ask myself, what's up with that? So let's go check some stuff out here. Make sure I got all this cranked up and ready to rumble. I do. Remove that from the stage.
We continue to follow today's top story out of New Mexico. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement have arrested a former judge and his wife. This after federal law enforcement learned that their tenant, an alleged Tren de Aragua gang member, was arrested at his home. Thank you for choosing KTSM 9 News at 10. I'm Andy Morgan. Monica has the night off. Now, we're also learning other Venezuelan nationals were arrested and are in HSI custody. An ICE spokeswoman said the former judge, Joel Cano, and his wife, Nancy Cano, was taken into custody earlier today as part of an ongoing HSI-led criminal investigation. This was at a home on North Raymond Street in Las Cruces. As KTSM reported, former Doña Ana County Magistrate Judge Joel Cano rented out his, quote, casita, or small home behind their house, to Christian Ortega Lopez. They met when his wife hired Ortega Lopez to install glass. The district attorney's office says Ortega Lopez was seen with multiple firearms in pictures that were posted on social media. You're seeing those now. The feds seized those firearms and arrested Ortega Lopez in February. Ortiz Loya allegedly admitted to entering the country illegally in 2023 and faces a charge of illegal alien in possession of a firearm. It's not known if the Canos knew of Ortega Lopez's alleged gang affiliation. Now, this is a look at the house where agents made the arrest. You can see agent vehicles parked all around the neighborhood. Both the former judge and his wife being charged with tampering with evidence and are expected in court tomorrow.
Initially, we came back here to arrest his wife, and as we started obviously conducting our interviews and started looking at evidence, we subsequently arrested as well.
The couple is being interviewed and could face additional charges depending on that outcome. Officials have not provided further details on the Venezuelan nationals who were also arrested. We are following this story closely and will bring you the latest as soon as we learn more.
Former Doña Ana County Magistrate Judge Joel Cano and his wife, Nancy Cano, have been taken into custody. This comes after they were found to harbor an illegal alien who is likely a Venezuelan gang member. Christian Ortega Lopez has alleged ties to the Tren de Aragua gang. Federal agents raided the couple's Las Cruces home. The judge and his wife are accused of evidence tampering. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, Secretary Kristi Noem said, "Under President Trump, we have arrested over 150,000 aliens, including more than 600 members of the vicious Tren de Aragua gang. If you are here illegally and break the law, we will hunt you down, arrest you, and lock you up. That's a promise." Ortega Lopez was apprehended at the Cano residence in February. He was initially hired by Nancy Cano for home repairs and later offered accommodation in the couple's guest house. Court documents reveal Investigators uncovered evidence linking Ortega Lopez to the Tren de Aragua gang, including gang-related clothing, tattoos, voicemails, and text messages. He unlawfully entered the U.S. on December 15, 2023, by crossing the border near Eagle Pass, Texas, without inspection or authorization. Ortega Lopez was released on December 18, 2023, pending removal proceedings due to overcrowding at the Border Patrol facility. He was issued a notice to appear, initiating formal removal proceedings under the Immigration and Nationality Act. 4 firearms were seized from the residence of April Cano after further investigation. He is currently facing federal charges for being an illegal alien in possession of a firearm and faces up to 15 years in prison. Former ICE Field Office Director John Fabricatori said Doña Ana County has been a hotbed of illegal immigration and drug trafficking, human smuggling for many, many years. To see that a judge would allow this to happen, it's very concerning. It's concerning. What else has the judge been doing? Judge Cano resigned from his judicial position in March. The New Mexico Supreme Court issued a ruling permanently barring him from holding any judicial office in the state on April 22nd.
And that breaking news tonight, a battle over immigration enforcement is boiling over after Milwaukee County judge charged with federal crime.
Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested this morning by federal agents. She's now accused of helping this man, Eduardo Flores Ruiz. Prosecutors say he's an undocumented immigrant accused of domestic violence. The feds say Judge Dugan tried to interfere with ICE and the FBI when they tried to arrest him. This story has put Milwaukee in the national spotlight, and we've got team coverage from the arrest to the community, the pushback to the bigger issue that's been simmering for weeks.
We begin with Bill Miston live outside the federal courthouse.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Judge Hannah Dugan is now out of federal custody after she appeared in federal court today on 2 felony charges.
No justice, no peace. Judge Dugan will be free.
As word spread Friday of Judge Hannah Dugan's arrest,
Let the judge be released.
and the crowd of supporters outside the Milwaukee Federal Courthouse grew, the judge was whisked out the back door alongside her attorney. She had just appeared before a federal judge, charged with obstructing or impeding the arrest of an undocumented person and concealing the person to prevent the man's arrest. It's all connected to a series of events federal prosecutors say happened last Friday in and outside Dugan's county courtroom a mile away. 29-year-old Mexican national Eduardo Flores Ruiz was scheduled to appear before Dugan in a county misdemeanor battery case. The government says a state public defender, there for another case, told Dugan's clerk there were ICE agents in the hallway. Filings say Dugan left the courtroom and confronted the agents, telling them to go to the chief judge's office down the hall. While there, prosecutors say Dugan returned to the bench and eventually escorted Flores Ruiz and his attorney through a door that led to a non-public part of the courthouse. Filings say Flores Ruiz made it down from the 6th floor to the street, where he was arrested after a chase. Court documents say Flores Ruiz was removed from the U.S. in 2013. After Dugan's arrest, Chief Judge Carl Ashley said in a statement he's restricted from commenting, and another judge will cover Dugan's calendar. She appeared in handcuffs Friday morning before a magistrate judge. The hearing lasted about 3 minutes. Dugan was eventually released on her promise to come back to court.
No justice. No
All as a crowd of supporters grew. Now, federal prosecutors say they intend to seek an indictment in the case. Her attorney, Craig Mastantuono, declined to comment after the hearing, and our messages to him have gone unreturned. Dugan served on the bench since 2016 and was reelected in 2022. She's due back in court, federal court, next month.
Before I get to the next video, let's go over a couple little facts that were alleged there. So I believe you heard Kristi Noem state that since Trump has taken office on January 20th, that the Trump administration has deported 150,000 illegals. Y'all can go back and watch that if y'all want, but I wrote it down. So let's do some math, because you can't fudge the numbers. 100 days, right? Divided by 150. The numbers don't work, because they've clearly said that the maximum they can deport per day is 200 to 400. Those are the numbers. I'm not making this stuff up. So that's part of what this whole video is about. Are we actually getting real truth from the people that we assumed, presumed, some of y'all even voted for? Where the whole mantra, what was it? Truth, transparency, and accountability. And let's get on to this next video. And then I'll tell you a little bit more.
Reporting in Milwaukee, Bill Miston, Fox 6 News.
But first, a Wisconsin judge under arrest and facing charges accused of flouting federal law to help an illegal immigrant. Federal prosecutors say Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan allegedly helped that migrant avoid arrest by ICE officers at the courthouse. It's a bizarre case and it's still unfolding. Hello, I'm John Roberts in Washington. Sandra, good to see you back again.
All right. Good to be back with you as well, John. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and this is America Reports. So today's arrest of a judge marks the second such case in the last 24 hours. A former New Mexico judge and his wife were taken into custody yesterday. Federal agents arresting them for harboring a suspected Tren de Aragua gang member in their guest house.
For more on all of this, we are honored to have in the new U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi. It's good to talk to you, Pam.
Good to talk to you.
So let me read a little bit from the criminal complaint here. Judge Dugan says, despite having been advised of the administrative warrant for the arrest of Flores Ruiz, Judge Dugan then escorted Flores Ruiz and his counsel out of the courtroom through the jury door, which leads to a non-public area of the courthouse. A foot chase ensued. The agents pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse and ultimately apprehended him. According to this complaint, Judge Dugan was visibly angry that ICE was there to arrest Flores Ruiz, even tried to kick the deportation agents out of the courthouse.
Yeah, and to set the stage for you and Sandra, this was truly horrific. This guy was in court being prosecuted by a state prosecutor for domestic violence battery. He had beat up two people, a guy and a girl, hit the guy 30 times, knocked him to the ground, choked him, beat up a woman so badly they both had to go to the hospital. And John, you know, it's so rare for victims to want to cooperate. They wanted to cooperate. They were sitting in the courtroom with the state prosecutor. The judge learns that ICE was outside to get the guy because he had been deported in 2013, came back in our country, commits these crimes, charged with committing these crimes, victims in court. Judge finds out. She goes out in the hallway, screams at the immigration officers. She's furious, visibly shaken, upset, sends them off to talk to the chief judge. She comes back in the courtroom. You're not going to believe this. Takes the defendant and the defense attorney back in her chambers, takes them out a private exit and tells them to leave, while a state prosecutor and victims of domestic violence are sitting in the courtroom.
Wow.
You know, Madam Attorney General, great to have you here, and thanks for coming back on America Report. So we remember these words of Tom Homan, the border czar. This was March 17th, and his message on these judges who apparently are trying to get in the way of this administration's efforts. Listen.
I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer. What is your message to them?
We are going to prosecute.
Hold on. What did she just say? Let's back that ass up. Pam Bondi, secretary, back that ass up.
To them.
We are going to prosecute you. And
what? You're going to do what? To who? Come on.
We're coming.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message to them?
We are going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did that. We looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. It was a domestic violence case of all cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
In fact, she just had an initial appearance in court.
Hold on. Let's repeat that, Pam. Pay attention to words. Words have meaning. People say words for a reason.
All cases, and she's protecting a criminal defendant over victims of crime.
So let's just throw a spitball here. So if we deported a bona fide terrorist, gang member, and a judge told us to bring that person back, I don't know. What do you think, Pam?
In fact, she just had an initial appearance in court. There's also this other case coming out of New Mexico. Judge Joel Cano and his wife were arrested for harboring a TDA member at their home. The alleged TDA member had been picked up by law enforcement, and now he and his wife were picked up and arrested. And you say that you believe, as the Attorney General, that the person that they were having living at their home was a truly potentially bad individual.
Yeah, that's the judge up on the screen now who got arrested. Yeah, his name is Ortega. He was is a known TDA member, So he comes through Eagle Pass, December 2023. He's living in our country. January 2025, ICE, they get a tip. Tom Homan's done a great job. Our FBI did a great job on this case too. They get a tip that he is living with a judge and the judge's wife. So they have him arrested first on immigration charges. A Judge Damian Martinez releases him, saying that Judge Cano has a good BS meter and wouldn't let just anyone live on his property.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the associations with this violent Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, and this person that they harbored in their home, he was showing signs through clothing, we were told, tattoos. There was evidence through voice messages and text messages of his association to TDA. So what charges will Cano and his wife face, if any?
So Judge Cano, soon to be former Judge Cano, got his charges were just unsealed. He's charged with obstruction. He admitted post Miranda. He took one of the TDA members' cell phones himself, took it, beat it with a hammer, destroyed it, and then walked the pieces to a city dumpster to dispose of it to protect him. The wife also is charged with destroying evidence. Sandra, not only that, this TDA member, and he had on a necklace that said kill, something about death. He had tattoos all over him. He also had on his cell phone pictures of two decapitated victims, victims, decapitated, gruesome photos. And he was sending them out, and whoever he was sending them to was sending back saying, hey, you need to be careful. You shouldn't be sending these. You shouldn't be texting these photos out. Not only that, these two, the judge and his wife, gave him assault rifles that belonged to their daughter. That's what they're charged with. In the criminal report affidavit, he goes to a shooting range with these assault rifles, with a suppressor, with other known TDA members, and they're shooting. This is the last person that we want in our country, nor will we ever tolerate a judge or anyone else harboring them.
Let me, if I could, Madam Attorney General, come back to the Wisconsin case and Judge Hannah Dugan, because in allegedly letting the perpetrator and the attorney out through a non-public exit and allowed them to get out in front of the building. We had a situation where we've seen that I know Tom Homan was complaining about in Colorado, where there would be no transfer of a defendant from a jail to ICE custody on a detainer request in a way that was orderly and protected public safety. They would dump them off in a parking lot, and then ICE would have to chase them around with the DEA or whatever, or FBI, and pick them up. This ended up in a foot chase in public sight. It says here, a foot chase ensued. The agents, and this was a DEA agent and an FBI agent, pursued Flores Ruiz for the entire length of the courthouse, ultimately apprehended him near the intersection of West State Street and 10th Street. So the judge apparently has created a situation here where you have a public foot chase. And we all know that, well, sometimes they can come off without incident. They can also turn into very dangerous situations.
John, that's exactly right. She put the lives of our law enforcement officers at risk. She put the lives of citizens at risk. A street chase, which is absurd that had to happen. But yes, she put a lot of people in danger. That judge did it. So did the other judge. Judge Cano is charged with, they were allegedly giving him assault rifles, AK-47s, AR-15s, with a suppressor, a known TDA member, letting him go to a shooting range to refine and perfect his shooting skills. What's happened to our judiciary is beyond me.
Yeah, so when the American public hears this and they think these were once upstanding people in their communities and their professions, and they put it all on the line for this, I mean, have you dug into their motive? Like, what inspired them to carry out these acts and harbor criminals?
They're deranged is all I can think of. I cannot believe, I think some of these judges think they are beyond and above the law, and they are not. And we're sending a very strong message today. If you are harboring a fugitive, we don't care who you are. If you are helping hide one, if you are giving a TDA member guns, anyone who is illegally in this country, we will come after you and we will prosecute you. We will find you.
If I could just finish off with this idea, very significant development that you're arresting judges now. Now, it could be that the judges have engaged in terribly bad behavior and deserve to be arrested. But you know what critics will say? They'll say, "Oh, this is a government that is expanding the powers of the Article 1 of the Constitution. Now they're arresting judges." How do you respond to that?
No one is above the law, John. No one is above the law in this country. And if you are destroying evidence, if you are obstructing justice, when you have victims sitting in a courtroom of domestic violence and you're escorting a criminal defendant out a back door, it will not be tolerated, and it is a crime in the United States of America. Doesn't matter who you are, you're going to be prosecuted.
Madam Attorney General, great to see you in the studio.
Great to see you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brad.
You are. Now, I didn't do it on purpose. Believe me, I didn't do this on purpose. But if you watched all the videos that I've done for this week, the majority of them, and Pam Bondi just said they're deranged, right? Well, I've covered 10 judges that are deranged. And let me get over here and find the right thing. There we go. This is the definition of insanity. Okay. Number 1, severe mental illness or derangement. All right. If the Attorney General of the United States of America just said that they're deranged, they're insane. We can go to number 2, unsoundness of mind sufficient to render a person unfit to maintain a contractual or other legal relationship, or sufficient to warrant commitment to a mental health facility. I'm not giving y'all legal advice. No, I'd never do that. Number 3, incapacity to form the criminal intent necessary for legal responsibility, as when a mental disorder prevents a person from knowing the difference between right and wrong. So did the Milwaukee judge, did she know the difference between right and wrong, whether or not to prosecute this? How does that work? How are you in the middle of a trial adjudicating it for domestic assault, and then you stop that proceeding and then take the defendant and go put him back out on the streets? And then what do you do when you walk back in court? Somebody dropped a Monopoly community chest get out of jail free card. Is that what happened? So we've covered 10 judges. Obviously, they're insane. And that's what I've been covering, that this is a mental illness. And it's going to get ugly before people finally snap and go, oh, wow, yeah, they're just mentally ill, and they don't know they're mentally ill because they're mentally ill. But over us over here on this side, the normal people with logic, rationality, a little intelligence, we don't even have to have much to get above your zone of comfort, which is less than a rock. Okay. And I was thinking about this, about the presidency, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I was thinking, for people that are definitely agnostic towards politics and voting and who the nominees are and who actually gets elected and who's running the country or whatever that looks like. Would you rather have Biden over Trump or Trump over Biden? That's a no-brainer. Okay. And then you got Harris against Trump and Trump against Harris. That's a no-brainer. And when you really look at that with logic and reason, based on the historical past of both presidents and the vice president, Harris, from their prior track record, obviously you'd want the brick if you had to choose between Biden, Harris, or a brick. Why would you want the brick, Floyd? I would want the brick because I know what the brick's going to do. Nothing. As opposed to Biden and Harris, which, hey, it's WFO on full throttle with nitrous. And you never know where you're going. You see all the stuff that they're finding, these billions, just like I just heard today that Obama has been getting a royalty from the name Obamacare since 2010. He's gotten like 40 something million dollars. I don't remember the exact number. I was watching it like right before I jumped on there. Yeah, that fool monetized that. And he'd be getting paid. So every time it's in print, every time somebody says it, Obamacare. And that was just like Band-Aid. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So obviously I covered the United States Supreme Court in the case AARP, which does not stand for the Association for the Advancement of Retired Persons. Those are the actual initials of a gang member, an illegal who is either getting deported or already deported. It is AARP et al. Et al. Means the class, and I'll get into that, and we'll talk about some more insanity. I'll move that for you because that seems to be the median for everything that I've discussed about judges this week. There were 2 precedents set by the United States Supreme Court this week. It and it wasn't even really an opinion. And it was on an application for temporary restraining order. And I got into all that. But the two precedents that the United States Supreme Court just basically legislating from the bench, they declared that all the detainees, the illegal aliens that are getting ready to get deported, are a class, a putative class. Okay, well, generally you would think about that, okay, yeah, we all went to Starbucks and Starbucks gave us a 9-ounce cup but sold us a 10-ounce cup. Somebody filed a lawsuit. I got solicited in an email if I wanted to join the suit, blah, 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 fill this out, send it in. Now I'm part of the class. You and tens of thousands of other people that are all on as plaintiffs in this lawsuit. Well, what'd that do, Floyd? Let me explain it to you real quick so you don't have to go watch a 20-minute video. What that did is it opened up the door for every state and federal habeas corpus petitioner that's petitioning for relief of a felony conviction, whether it's on the state or federal level, okay, to all be a class as habeas petitioners. So realistically, you could court shop. Imagine that. Go finding you a court with a judge like the two we just profiled. See where this is getting really kind of hanky, the way it's all turning out. So not only did they do that, but basically they opened a door for anybody who needs a temporary restraining order. You can just like jump into the U.S. District Court, any federal court, at 3:00 Friday afternoon and throw down your application and demand the court rule on it that day, where you're going to file a notice of appeal. And then when the court doesn't rule on it, because it's Good Friday and Easter Sunday is 2 days away, and it's 3:00 Friday on Good Friday, and then the lawyers just subvert the district court and file their notice of appeal, which went to the Fifth Circuit in New Orleans, and the Fifth Circuit was like, okay, yeah, we got it. But goddamn, it's Easter weekend. Can this wait till Monday morning? Nope. They just couldn't wait. And they just took their application and went right to the United States Supreme Court, 7-2, in which Associate Justice Samuel Alito wrote the dissenting opinion, in which Associate Justice Clarence Thomas joined, or concurred, as they said. And I broke that down, exactly what's going on. So obviously the court acted outside of its jurisdiction because it never gained jurisdiction. Why? I'll break that down to you. Let's go back to the district court, where initially the ACLU came in and filed this application for TRO on behalf of AARP and all his minions. I lost my train of thought. I just drew a blank. That was crazy. Totally lost my train of thought. Where was I going? I have to back that up. I should have just turned the volume on over there. Oh, back to the district court. Okay. So ACL comes in, 3:00 afternoon, Good Friday, slam down their application. They demand that it be heard within, an hour. They're going to go file their appeal. Well, the district court never ruled on it. They never said granted. They never said denied. They didn't say anything. They filed it, that it was filed. Now, an appellate court cannot gain jurisdiction by one of the parties filing a notice of appeal unless it's in an interlocutory appeal from a ruling within the court, from a court proceeding. However, that had never happened because there was no proceeding. There was nothing to adjudicate. So the Fifth Circuit never had jurisdiction. All they had was a notice of appeal. And hey, there's nobody in the office to even deal with this. We're going to wait till the weekend's over, and then we'll deal with it. Got no problem. And then the Supreme Court acts. Well, the Supreme Court never had jurisdiction either. If the Fifth Circuit didn't have it, Supreme Court definitely didn't have it. This is what I'm talking about. Well, how they set precedents, things that have never happened in 249-year history of the United States of America. You just heard Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi. No one's above the law. We will prosecute you, right? This is what I'm talking about. When I express my concerns, and I say this for multiple reasons, and I'm going to get into that, especially when we talk about this insanity thing and the mental illness that is just, it's pervasive. It's an epidemic across the United States of America. Okay. It's an epidemic now. There are too many people on every level that have just lost their minds. They have no reason, no common sense, refuse to accept rule of law. They operate in the gray area. That's where they want to stay, in that gray area. I mean, a judge, okay? I mean, just wrap your mind around that. A judge giving assault weapons to an illegal alien. Not one, multiple. I mean, what are we really up against here? What does this really look like in the big scheme of things? Because what you're probably not ever going to hear regarding that relationship, somebody was getting paid, in my opinion. Just like talk about in this book right there, how the discovery of mass corruption in the state of Arizona led to the abduction of McKinley Harris Thaler. Okay. That's how pervasive this is. These cartels, they've got Supreme Court justices on state levels paid off or compromised. And what does that compromising look like? Because now I'm going to talk about the Trump administration, because they all talk this, what I call Big Ten shit. Okay. Talking Big Ten shit about what they're going to do as soon as they get into office, if they ever get into office. Well, now they're there. And the number one target that I guarantee you, if this dude was arrested right now, not one person on the planet Earth should be surprised. I would doubt if anybody would be surprised. And I can't imagine anyone coming out to defend that individual right there. What are y'all waiting on for that one? Christmas? Another news cycle? And Trump considers the White House sacred. He didn't move the White House to Mar-a-Lago like everybody assumed that he would. He is in D.C. Well, damn, Trump. Don't you really want to know? Because we want to know. Who's got cocaine in the White House? Huh. I wonder. Why isn't somebody digging into this guy for all his interstate trafficking? Human trafficking, not drug trafficking. But I'm sure he was doing that as well. Is this where we're getting to the point where some of these people are just hands off? Untouchable? This clown who told everybody, told Congress, lied to Congress. Oh, yeah, border secure. We just need more money, more laws, more manpower. Wow. Amazing, because Trump shut it off in like 45 days. The end of that. We got it while the getting was good, that's for sure. And this guy, how come we have not seen the Robert Hur transcripts yet? Y'all could have released those on day fucking one. And I'm pointing to these things for you, okay? Is Trump better than Harris? No comparison. Is Trump better than Biden? No comparison. Is Trump better than anybody that the Democrats could have put up? Absolutely. Now, let's go over here and analyze Trump on his first 100 days, because I'm seeing a lot of red flags. And I'm almost in denial about it, where I have to check myself. It's like, Floyd, come on, man, don't overlook that. Don't get in denial. Don't get on the bandwagon, the rah, 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 and being a cheerleader. Look at it analytically, really break it down. And that's why I'm doing this video. And that's why I'm talking about, these judges getting popped. Is this going to open the door to allow them to start going out and start popping some of these bigger fish that are really, you saw that little minor protest, let our judge out, free Judge Hannah. How stupid are those people? You're supporting somebody that just took somebody that was probably going to get convicted and put them back out on the streets during a trial. I mean, listen, if somebody wrote a movie and that was the plot, you would probably walk out as like, that would never happen. Right? But we're not seeing this. We're not hearing anything about it. These people should be, man, they should have a line of them. I want to do more of these. I wish I did. I know everybody's seen the picture of this guy with the little, I don't know, 8-year-old girl, French kissing her, allegedly. I mean, how many pictures do we need to see of this guy with hookers and blow and crack pipes in his mouth before, And what's up with the auto pen and the pardons? What's going on with that? How long does that take to investigate? Because all you have to do is go like, okay, well, the day it was signed, who was in the White House that day and where were they at? It's not hard. Are they hiding it? Are they hiding it for a reason? Are they all in a club, but they want us to think that we're in their club when actually we're not? They're in a completely different club. And they're all in it together. And they've all been compromised one way or another. And I think once again, Trump has surrounded himself with people that aren't truly loyal to Trump, or if they're not, and I say this again because, man, I was looking for that clip. I watched it. Why didn't that one come up? There's another one I wanted to show you guys. Back up on it. There we go. Stop. Watch this video. It should have popped up. No. Bondi. That's not that. Here we go. This is why. Okay. I meant to play this one for you too. So pay attention to this one, okay? Very carefully about who they're talking about. Because one of these individuals that she's speaking of, Tulsi Gabbard, is Dan Caldwell. If you don't know who Dan Caldwell is, he's one of the 3 alleged leakers escorted out of the Pentagon. I think 48 hours after that happened, he was on Tucker Carlson's show. Tucker Carlson had vouched for him like a week before that happened, talk about how good of a guy he was, and I had no idea who the hell Dan Caldwell was. And then after this occurred, he came on Tucker Carlson's show. And if you haven't had a chance to go watch that video, I urge you to go watch that video. Make your own determination of who's actually blowing smoke up your ass. Because according to Dan Caldwell, the reason he was escorted from the Pentagon is because the war hawks want him out because of his longstanding relationship with Pete Hegseth, as well as his expert policy opinion, okay, because he's a policy analyst. He's an expert in his field. And he admits that. He says, like, that's not my category. That's this policy's category, okay? Because there's different categories in this policy analyst, the way he was describing it. So he knew his lane. And he's adamant that we need 0 military intervention with Iran. 0. Unacceptable. It'll destabilize the Middle East and just a whole host of stuff. Can't afford it. Don't have the manpower, blah, 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 blah. He gave a laundry list of reasons, which all make perfect sense because it can be handled diplomatically. But the war hawks, they want to go to war. They need that machine cranked back up. And Trump doesn't want it cranked back up. He wants to develop new technology, better technology. You know, it's almost become a drone war. So when I play this for you, pay attention to it, because is Tulsi Gabbard lying?
Intelligence. Tulsi Gabbard is here, and she's saying this: deep state criminals, and she puts them on notice, referring to 2 alleged leakers of classified info of the DOJ for prosecution. So 2 and more are coming. 3rd referral is on the way. Here.
I don't know why it's not sharing. It has that on the screen. Remove. Stop share. Okay, hang on. There we go. Try this again.
The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is here, and she's saying this. Deep state criminals, and she puts them on notice, referring to 2 alleged leakers of classified info of the DOJ for prosecution. So 2 and more are coming. 3rd referral is on the way. Here to explain is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Director, great to see you in person.
Good to see you, Brian.
So I read about this. You indicated to me this was happening. 2 people have been found to be leaking, a 3rd on its way. Can you give me the nature of the leaks and how you discovered it?
Let's just first of all point out what we know has been the problem for a very long time. One of the reasons why the American people voted resoundingly for President Trump was to root out the kind of politicization and weaponization of intelligence that has really undermined the trust the American people have in the intelligence community and the national security state, but really what also directly undermines our own national security. So I made it very clear to the U.S. Senate, to the American people when I had the honor of being appointed to this position, that we will not allow this to continue. We take this very seriously. It is illegal to leak classified information. And so what you're seeing here is me carrying out on the promise and the mandate the American people gave Trump. We conducted our own internal investigation. We have referred them now to the Department of Justice and the FBI for an official criminal investigation because these are crimes and people need to be held accountable to put a stop to this.
When you were Congresswoman, we talked about this. There's people within the department not selling secrets to Russia or China.
Well, we're keeping an eye out for that too.
Absolutely, but undermining the policy of the administration, the first administration, working against you at the CIA, working against you. Now you're finding this out. So you found people who seem motivated to undermine the president.
Yeah, when we look at the examples that I've seen just in the short time that I've been in this position, what they consist of is essentially very selective leaks to their friends in the propaganda media that twist and manipulate intelligence directly to undermine the president's policies and his aggressive work to keep the American people safe.
So does that 3rd person know that you're zeroing in on them?
I don't know if they know, but these are the first 3 investigations. We are referring to the Department of Justice. There are more that we are continuing to, investigations we're continuing.
Can you give me the nature of what they did, and will we know their names?
I can't get into detail now because of the criminal investigations that the FBI will be conducting, but in each one of these examples, I can tell you we know that the intent, based on the result that we've seen through their leaks to the Washington Post, the New York Times, and other outlets, Huffington Post and others, has been directly to undermine President Trump and the work that he's doing.
In cooperation with the director of the CIA and the FBI, since you're overseeing all of it, so it could be any in those bureaus beneath you?
Yes.
Okay. We just had the Secretary of Defense on, and he also is dealing with leak issues, 3 of which have been fired, maybe a 4 queued up. As Director of National Intelligence, do you have a role in that investigation?
I don't. The Department of Defense is conducting their own investigation. I've not been involved with or connected to that. What we are looking at is specifically within the intelligence community. So that means the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, but also with purview over the 18 different intelligence elements that I have oversight over.
Can you give me what you were told about you need to be able to communicate in real time, rapidly, with people at your level in a secure location? Yeah. Thanks to the Chinese infiltrating just about everything under the Biden administration, everyone was told to use the Signal app. What is the protocol for the administration about using the Signal app?
It's very simple. Obviously, we have official secure means of communication, whether it's email or phone. That is the preferred method of communication. If, for example, someone is traveling, they're on the road,
which happens all the time.
Which obviously we're not all locked to our desks, which is a good thing. Limited use of an end-to-end encrypted app like Signal is not only authorized under this administration, it was used prolifically under the Biden administration as well, recognizing that that's the most secure form of communication, but not using it to communicate classified information, of course.
Was Jake Sullivan and former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, were they communicating that way?
I have been told by people who have firsthand experience, they communicated prolifically and in great detail using the Signal app.
So, yes,
which is interesting because the Democrats on the committee and people who've been talking about this have never questioned or acknowledged that fact, even though we know that they know.
Yeah, it's important for people to point out that there's very few options because the Chinese have penetrated into almost every.
It's just practical.
Every major
we have to be able
device.
to communicate, and that is the most secure way to communicate.
Right.
Obviously, carefully, limited, but we have to have options.
So just so you know, there's a big story out today that the Secretary of Defense was using the Signal app on his desktop. And his spokesperson, Sean Parnell, said this: the Secretary's use of communication systems and channels is classified. However, we can confirm that the Secretary has never used or does not currently use Signal on his government computer. When you get briefed, like I get briefed when I started here, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. What do they tell you? I mean, these are stories that really come from protocol, isn't it?
Well, first of all, the Signal app has been uploaded on government phones specifically to be able to use in those exigent circumstances where it is needed to be able to communicate. The point is being very careful in how you're using any means of communication if it is not a secure government classified system.
You're not new to Congress. You're not new to Washington.
No.
But you're in a position you couldn't possibly be known everything you were getting into. What's been the biggest surprise since you took over? What's one of the biggest adjustments since you've taken over?
There's a long list, but really the levels of very serious, deep reform that is essential. Number one, to restore trust on behalf of the American people in these institutions to keep the American people safe. And being able to make sure that across the board, we are focusing on that foremost mission. They're obviously the DEI stuff that has been a huge distraction. I've had employees come and talk to me and say they were expected to spend half of their day within the intelligence community focused on DEI work. So if you can imagine when we have intelligence professionals and analysts whose mission it is to make sure that the president has relevant, timely, apolitical, objective intelligence to make his decisions by, but in the last administration, they're told, you got to spend half your day on DEI work. We can understand why the capabilities in some cases were so degraded.
Well, you have, without DEI, you got free time to do what everyone's supposed to be doing. Great to see you.
Thank you,
thanks so much
Good
for
to see
coming
you.
in.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley.
Again, sometimes you just can't make this stuff up. And as you did her, the other three that were walked out of the Pentagon, that's a separate DOD investigation, but obviously she has two leakers, possibly three on her radar that she's going after. And again, I'll digress back to, well, you know, if y'all can go after those people, why aren't we seeing, you know, people like that getting arrested? That guy. I thought I had a Nancy Pelosi. I'll definitely do one. But as you see, he's here for crimes against humanity. These are for treason. All these are for treason. I think somebody snuck into the room with the auto pen one day when nobody was looking, did a couple lines, and just started writing out pardons. Who else do I want to pardon? Definitely going to pardon Dr. Jill. She's been looking out for me. I'm just going to pardon everybody. All the way back. Let's see. When's the last time I committed a felony? 2008? Okay, we'll go back to 2008 then. Listen, y'all have already heard just in this show some of the wildest shit you've ever heard in your entire life. So that's not even out of the question. You know it's not. Which is crazy. Let me get over here to the comments. Gizmo, how you doing? Yeah. Whoops. I didn't get to the top. Oh, there you are. You are first. BlueTube not allowing the thumbs up. Yeah. I did get your emails, and I'm going to accept that. I'm going to do that tomorrow if everybody's available. I've been trying to catch up for the end of the week. I actually have a concert to go to here in an hour, less than an hour. I don't know if I'm going to go though. Let's see what else you got. The video was telling me how bad I had it growing up. Okay. Hey, Trash Dog, how you doing? Yeah, it's incredible. Audrey Darnell, how you doing? Is he an ex-judge due to the incident? Yeah. Yeah, you heard it in the, I believe if I remember correctly, I think he stepped down like almost immediately. And then in that one blurb from the news outlet, they said, or actually Economic Times, they said that the state of New Mexico had pulled all his credentials where he can no longer hold any office in New Mexico. Apparently somebody has some modicum of intelligence there. Conspiratary, how you doing? I don't know if this is the beginning of the end or, we don't want it to be the beginning of the end. We want it to be the beginning of the beginning. That's what we're after. God, I mean, this better be the end. The end should have been January 19th, right? We need a beginning of a beginning, not a beginning of the end. You know how endings are, right? It's just like I climbed up on my roof and I jumped. Man, a fall would be freaking great. It's just that sudden stop at the very end, that crash landing. It's probably going to leave a scar too. So we want the beginning of the beginning. All right, what you got to give us, Bo? What happened to the truth, justice, and the American way? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Is that what you're talking about? That thing that's just been, roughshod, trampled upon. They've got us believing that. Oh yeah, that's y'all. Those are your rights. They're inalienable. There's nothing the government can do to penetrate your rights. Yeah, they're yours. We promise. So now who judges these two dirty judges? Yeah. It's amazing. I don't know what happened. Ape Sitter, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Tim Brown, how you doing? Welcome to the show. There's a viewpoint right there. Unarming Americans for the takeover through illegals, while in the Middle East, young kids are hunters. Let that sink in, children. Well, I'm not going to speak for all liberals and Democrats, but more likely than not, their fathers, mothers, uncles, brothers are not taking them hunting and fishing. But if you go over on the middle to the right side, conservatives, they hunt, they fish. They're very active. If we ever get invaded, it'll be from the Northwest. They're not going to hit the Midwest like Ohio, Pennsylvania. Those deer hunters up there. Deer hunters in the South. What are deer hunters? Fully equipped, locked and loaded snipers. And most of them, they've got either an AK-47 or an AR. When I worked the NRA show, I actually went to the show, which is very rare for me to do anymore these days. But I wanted to go to the show, and I interviewed multiple people. And, some of these guns, like it's the same gun, but they're different colors. So it'll be a dark blue one, a light blue one, a chrome, a satin, black, nickel plated, camo, camo sand, camo green, 30 different choices for this gun. It's the same gun. So I'm talking to this one guy and we're just kicking it. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got several of these." And I'm like, "The same gun?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I got this color, that color, that color." I'm like, "What?" I go, "How many guns do you have?" And he's like, "I don't know, like 68. I'm like, 68? But that's how they roll. They fully stocked, locked and loaded. They're ready to go. So when the shit hits the fan, you want to find you a hunter, a Republican conservative, because they're probably going to have the goods. Paperwork, really Looney Tunes. Hey, Firecracker, how you doing? Welcome to the show. You're welcome, Gizmo. Yeah. Beginning of the beginning. Galactic Fire T-shirts. How you doing? Mind program. The end was 2018. We just are now watching the movie. Why? So we wouldn't have a civil war with our own country. And, I really didn't want to bring that term up, but, that's a distinct possibility. And I don't think it'll be much of a civil war, because really, when you look at the left, the left really doesn't have the firepower. They have hired thugs, basically mercenaries, that these billionaires pay to go tear up neighborhoods, cities, towns. So the actual you see pictures of them out there protesting. Most of them are obese, overweight, out of shape, got 60,000 piercings in them. All you got to do is just grab that nose ring and go, "Come here." And we screaming like a little bitch. Just like that. "Come here, you got another one in your lip. Let me get that one too." So I'm just real concerned because I see too many red flags, and I'll start pointing them out to you. Why I think they're red flags. Obviously, we're not seeing the arrests. We're not seeing grand jury investigations. We're not hearing about witnesses being called in to testify in front of grand juries. I know Trump's pardoned some Hunter Biden's, or the Biden crime family, allegedly. Some of those associates. Are they testifying in front of a grand jury? Is there a grand jury investigation going on? A term that we often heard in the first 60 days, but has kind of petered out a little bit. Like your 12th round of sex after an 8-ball. Promises made, promises kept. You're just not hearing that quite often as we used to, right? Remember, they used to get out there and they're little, and promises made, promises kept. Just like Donald Trump said. We're not seeing it. But it's a possibility. Do I think that they would have any ability to win any protracted civil war if it was Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals? They would be decimated. They would be decimated. And I'm telling you this. Conservatives have way too much firepower. That's why Congress wants more gun laws, and they want to take your guns away from you. And then if you've got guns, they want to know every gun you have. And then if you have any auxiliary elements to add to your firearms, they want those licensed, registered. You got to file an application, get a permit fee, and all this other bullshit. Yeah, they just want to know who's got what, so when time comes, they can come get it. So I'm not even going to tell you how to answer how to get around that. That's a private conversation. Hit me up. Sonia Galatek, how you doing? Oh, you changed your name. Oh, you're on Rumble and okay. All right, I see how you are. I guess you do t-shirts, huh? That's cool. So anyway, these red flags that I'm seeing with Trump administration, of course, with the whole arrest thing, Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, both talking this Big Ten shit about how they were going to, take name, blah, 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 blah. The JFK files. I mean, that was like dropping a book on the floor, a big thud. And it was pretty much everything that anybody who's done any type of research into that we already knew. And nobody's being held accountable for that either. You don't hear about some inspector general investigation within the CIA. Nope. You don't hear any inspector general investigation into the trillions, if not up to 21 trillion, but that's including the housing, urban development. But let's just say half of that, that's just like a black hole in the Pentagon. Apparently there's a black hole on Earth, folks, and it's in Washington, D.C. Apparently it's in the shape of a Pentagon. And it just sucks shit through there, and nobody knows where the fuck it went. So, hey, I just renamed the Pentagon. We're just going to call it the black hole from now on. Right? That's what it is. So, obviously, no investigation. Trillions. 2/3 of the national freaking debt between the Pentagon and the Housing and Urban Development Department. 21 trillion, estimated by a Michigan State University professor. Covered that on my show. And I can go on and, raise some more about what we should be seeing, what we should be hearing, what they should be telling us, and that we're not seeing it. So I've always said, and I said it a year ago probably, and I say it because I've lived it. I know what logistics looks like when you have to incarcerate an individual, provide for that individual 24/7, 365 until you discharge that individual. There's a lot of logistics that go into that. And especially when you start talking about illegal aliens and all the paperwork with ICE, immigration courts, Border Patrol reports, you got all these different agencies trying to kill that. I keep getting notifications. Lost my train of thought. Logistics. So I comprehend what it takes to run a correctional facility or a housing facility for prisoners. I've worked in food service and I've done everything in food service. Grill cook, floor cook, baker, commissary, butcher, milk pasteurizer, back dock worker, floor worker, dish room. Worked everywhere in a kitchen. Laundry, washer, dryer, pressers, bookkeeper, everything in a laundry. So I've done laundry services, food services, know all that. Showers. Used to run the showers. I was the guy that gave you your boxers and your towels. Everybody had to come shower. I was the first person you saw when you came in. And I can go on and on and on. School. I helped develop the school when the Beto 1 unit was being built in Tennessee Colony, Texas. Yep. So I know what it takes. I've worked in classification, working for the building major. I've worked for assistant wardens. So I understand the concept. I understand what it takes as far as manpower, building power, utilities, because utilities are always running. There's never, hey, can you turn up the AC for a minute? There is no AC on most of the units. And it's logistics. And again, when you go back to the math and you do the math just ain't functioning. Just like she said, they've deported 150,000 deportees, whether they were illegals or not. We're just going to say 150,000. Over 100 days. That's 1,500 a day, just like I said. I can go pull it up. Oh, here, let's just do it. I'm going to go get the answer with you. I just pushed enter and clicked over, and I can't even spell. Thumbs in the way. Let's do a search again. And see if AI wants to answer. Here we go. What you got, AI? As of February 4th, 2025, the U.S. has deported 37,660 people during the first month President Trump's second term in office. ICE officials reported 32,809 arrests were made between January 20th and March 10th, 2025. However, the exact number of deportations from January 20, 2025 to present date is not specified in the provided context. Since January 20th, 2025, the U.S. has seen a significant decrease in the number of apprehensions and deportations. Between January 20th and February 5th, that's like a week, 2 weeks. No. As of March 23rd, ICE had nearly 48,000 immigrants in custody, well beyond its funded capacity of 41,500. Again, what are we talking about here, Floyd? Logistics. That is logistics, folks. So let's just say, obviously, 150,000 is an exaggeration, obviously. So they're not doing 1,500 a day. So how do you think, because they're admitting that there are 20 million illegals here, but I'm telling you, okay, that there's 40 million here because they've been coming here for decades. And now they have grown children who are having children that are U.S. citizens. They were born in America. How's that working out for us? Ooh, not too well. So are they going to go get them? Should we run down to our Home Depot and call ICE from the parking lot and go, hey, I got 60 of them out here looking for work. You think you can hook them up? Bring vans. So these are the red flags that I'm seeing over and over and over. Just like Pam Bondi. Nobody's above the law. We will prosecute you. Really? Well, why didn't you send the U.S. Marshals to go arrest those 7 justices on the U.S. Supreme Court for acting outside their jurisdiction, obstructing justice? Where have we heard that tonight? Harboring a felon? Since they're terrorists, rendering aid to the enemy. What do y'all think? Y'all with me on that one? These are red flags. I mean, are they okie doking us? Because I get it. Most people, this goes right past their head, or they don't even have time to listen to this stuff. And if they do listen to it, they're not paying attention to what the words really say. Because when you break it down word for word, you're like, oh, wow, really? Becomes a little bit more astonishing. Then, of course, you come to somebody like me who does break this down for you and shows you what, real reality looks like. And, albeit, yeah, Trump has been a man on a mission, man on a move. He's, rock'em sock'em robots, and he's winning. And he's doing so much that he's got the Democratic Party just like a flock of chickens running around with their heads cut off. Now, great segue, Floyd. You gonna read something? I am. History repeats itself, and then there are those who are way ahead of the curve. Over 2 centuries, hidden in the shadows, a nefarious secret group has worked tirelessly to undermine the principles on which America was founded, as the deep state. In the 200-year plan, former FBI from 1951 to 1975, based in Los Angeles, California, whistleblower Ted Gunderson, and former NSA from 1966 to 1969, whistleblower and Man in Black Noel Benoit exposed the chilling agenda of the global conspiracy to overthrow the American way of life under the guise of progressivism. The Illuminati's NWO, New World Order, directed by the uber-secretive Majestic 12 or MJ12, exposed. Re-edited for clarity, updated with current words and terms, and expanded. New chapter by Noel. Ted Gunderson's full reports and material and foreword by Fearless Floyd of the Fearless Floyd Show. Through firsthand accounts, whistleblower testimonies, and years of investigative research, the authors reveal the truth of covert operations to psychological psyops manipulation. Senior Special Agent in Charge, FBI, LA Division, Ted investigated pedophilia, human trafficking, narcotics, and discovered the, and I quote, finders, close quote. Full report added. Noel and a Man in Black with magic security clearance and MJ12's go-to agent doing the NWO dirty work. Ted and Noel joined forces and exposed the deep state shadow government being ultimately controlled by MJ12. This groundbreaking book challenges readers to question the narratives of power, governments, media, and social media and expose the hidden forces that suppress exposure. Are you prepared to confront the truth about the depravity of those powerful politicians, celebrities, and influencers who really pull the strings? Awaken to a reality more unsettling than fiction. A meticulously executed evil satanic agenda shaping the 21st century and what we can do to take back control of the future of humanity with liberty under God. And that's the back cover to the 2025 edition of Noel and Ted's 200-year plan. Don't know who Ted Gunderson is. He was almost an FBI director. He kept stumbling upon the pedophilia in Hollywood. So he knew about it way back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and really went out and blew the whistle. Noel and him teamed up and they wrote the book. Me personally, I'm extremely humbled to even be a part of that. So I went in, updated it, wrote it in a narrative for today's contemporary phraseology, progressivism, social media, influencers, deep state, because the terminology that was originally written in the book was a little bit older. But this isn't anything new. And Ted's own investigation revealed that the pedophilia went through politics on state and federal level. It even went into the military. And there was a major conspiratorial cover-up to hide the pedophilia in the actors. That's one reason why Ted wasn't selected as the FBI director. William Webster was selected in one. So obviously this is nothing new. Are they still suppressing it? Or we still got the same old, and we just been okey doke. They changed the faces. They, we're putting all their faith in them because everything they told us before. I don't know if they were promises to where they can come out and say, okay, I made my promise. Now my promise is kept and I'm good to go. I'm going to be a hero. Look at my legacy. Because we all know how the game works. You work for a big corporation, boom, get sucked into politics and work your way up the chain, and you're running the USDA, the FDA, and doing everything you need, and you'll pop back over to the industry that you were doing all those favors for. And now you're making big bucks, like really stupid big bucks. And now you're sitting on the chairs of all these different boards. You're being rewarded for your gratitude and grace. So I'm very concerned of what I'm seeing so far with the Trump administration. And, I've never been a Republican. I've never been a Democrat. I just, I try to select the best individual I think is going to do the best job. I don't vote. I can't vote. But that's where I'm at. Obviously, Trump was the no-brainer choice. I mean, Trump and a brick. Obviously, you take Trump. A brick and Joe Biden. You take the brick. A brick and Kamala Harris. Again, you take the brick. No-brainer. But obviously, there's some people over that way that cuckoo, 72-hour psychological evaluation hold. That's what needs to start happening to these people. Are you insane that you just don't know the difference between right and wrong and you have some type of derangement? Or is that a criminal act? Because one or the other. That's what we're seeing here. And obviously everybody's going, I didn't see a thing. Is that white privilege, political privilege? I mean, it must be nice to, I don't even know how do you say that. Assist a terrorist or assist a felon to escape from federal custody. Basically harboring a fugitive. and you get let go on a personal recognizance bond? Oh, that's right. They're in the club together. Who'd have thought, right? That was another word for the thing. Can't say that. Hey, Floyd, did you see JFK to 911? Everything is a rich man's trick. Yeah, I've seen that, JHJ. You guys send me videos all the time. Y'all send me stuff all the time. And thank you for that. And don't stop. I appreciate it. Sometimes I don't have time to watch it. When I do have time, I'll throw it on my other laptop right here, and it will be playing in the background while I'm working here. Or if it has closed caption, I'll put it on closed caption while I'm having a conversation or I'm on hold or something like that. But I try to listen and watch as many of these as I can. But yeah, I've seen most of those. A revolution, but what's the revolution going to look like? I was watching a video today, and it was talking about the Agenda 2030, but it was a map of the United States in 2050. And I don't know if you guys have seen that. And, you know, I've looked at and watched so much stuff today, I'd have to go dig for it to pull it back up. But it showed a map of the United States. And by then, everything had become regions. There weren't even counties anymore, because if you just go to Texas, okay, and you take Houston down here on the Gulf Coast, and then you go over to San Antonio, and then you come up through Austin, which is kind of a little zigzag, and then you go up to DFW, okay? That's like a big kind of pyramid like that. Well, on this map, that was all one big city. From Houston to Dallas, Dallas to San Antonio, San Antonio to Houston. And then as you get outside that region, it gets more rural. And then, of course, you get up to, like, you know, the Grand Canyon area where it's really, really rural. But it broke the United States down to all these regions. And this is kind of like what the 15-minute cities, 20-minute cities, whatever the fuck they are. Kind of how this is, pushing everybody in a tighter spot. Yet, we're gonna rip out every tree, every blade of grass, every weed, every piece of dirt, and we're gonna pour concrete, and we're gonna build more structures, and we're just gonna keep going until we bump into another structure, and then I guess we're done. Then we got to go another direction. But that's what they're doing. I mean, they're mowing just miles and miles and miles of trees. They're not even harvesting most of them most of the time. They're just bulldozing them, putting them in a big landfill, and it's horrendous. So the revolution, I don't know what the revolution will look like. I don't know how that'll split. Another red flag for me with Trump, okay, is his acceptance, acquiescence, support, photo ops with Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, and Ken Paxton, the attorney general. Now, of course, Greg Abbott already got his little sketchy deal. He was a Democrat before he decided to turn Republican. He's been the Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court, the Texas Attorney General. Now he's the Texas governor, and he gets at least 3 pensions. I think 4. Yeah. So we already know he's questionable. Now, Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton's questionable just on his own personal and business dealings. We're not even into the whole political realm yet. So that's a whole nother thing. He'd been questioned, from day one. But if you didn't get a chance to watch the one interview I did with Ryan Mata about human trafficking, where Ryan told me that the attorneys general for Guatemala wrote a letter to Ken Paxton informing Ken Paxton that Guatemalan citizens, namely children, boys and girls, children, okay? This is all ages. I'm not going to get descriptive. All ages were being repeatedly raped on their journey to and once they got into the United States of America. And that letter was sent from the Attorney General of Guatemala to the Attorney General of Texas. And Ken Paxton ignored it. That's exactly what Ryan Mata told me. So there's a lot of dirty, low down, no good, snake in the grass, in my opinion, politicians out there. And you know they're all going to back each other when, push comes to shove. They will throw another under the bus when there needs to be a sacrifice. Absolutely. That's all part of the game. There's going to be sacrifices. Whenever your number's up, you're going to get sacrificed. You just saw the Democratic Party try to sacrifice Eric Adams, the mayor of New York. That's why he's over there buddying up with Trump. Hey, I'm a good guy. I'm a cop. I'm on your side. I'm for law and order. I'm still a Democrat, though. So there's a lot of red flags, and I just want everyone to be very cautious. Even David Nino Rodriguez, he's very, very, very skeptical upon Trump and the whole Trump administration, and he's buddy with, Kash Patel and those cats. He's been to these conferences with them. He's kicked it with them. He's talked to them, off the books, off the official communication channels, where you hear the most insane stuff. Okay. I mean, he's just, you're just like, they believe this? Okay. All right. Uh-huh. Fuckers are loony. Uh-huh. Okay. Wow. That would be incredible if that happened. That kind of shit. Because believe me, when I went over there and I did the whole El Magador jacket signing with Wano Saban and Chris Eriks and Dallas Punisher and Michael -48, man, just 1% of what I heard came true, it'd be a whole different world. Just 1%. When is enough? Because I don't even argue with these people anymore. I don't even respond to them. They are stuck on stupid. They're fucking around, playing stupid games, winning stupid prizes. They're programmed, institutionalized, dumbed down. They're brainwashed in a cult. They refuse to accept anything except what their own narrative and that little peanut of a mind that they have will allow them to accept. And it doesn't matter what you put in front of them, whether it's physical evidence, audio evidence, photograph, video, an actual person testifying under oath. That's just not enough for them. They are just not going to hear it, no matter what you do. So don't even entertain it, because you know what they say, you can't argue with the sick mind, so don't. These people are sick. It's a sad commentary on the populace of the United States of America, because one half of America is sick. They've lost it. I don't know if we can get them healthy again. I mean, they just, some of them, they don't have just a screw loose. The fucking screw fell out. It's lost. It may never get fixed. It may never get replaced. And they're not hard to find. You can pretty much walk in any grocery store, mall, and you can spot them right off the bat. And they stand out like a sore thumb. They're just begging for attention. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm not getting any attention at home. My parents don't love me. They hate me. My teachers hate me. My friends hate me. My boyfriend hates me. My girlfriend hates me. All at once. But please be aware for the red flags. I don't know what we are. We're confused because there's no truth, transparency, and accountability. They dropped the RFK files. Another big thud. Nada. No big revelations. Nobody's jumping up and down and goes, finally, we have a shooter. And we have the person that masterminded the whole thing. And we don't even know if we got the entire files. Yeah, if you need designing and a webpage for free for your tea ideas, hit me up. I'm your girl. Okay. What time is it? 8. I don't know where you're at, Sonia. But yeah, if you don't know my phone number, go get it off my website. I would say it, but YouTube. I can't believe they still have my social security and all that information. Those videos are still on YouTube. They're not saying that. Because generally they'll take them down if that information's on there, if it's visible. But yeah, hit me up. Because I'm definitely going to do some t-shirts. I actually ordered a bunch of DTFs today. So I'll have I got them to do some t-shirts. So I'll be having a bunch of shirts. Once I get them, put them on the shirts, check them out, see how I like it. I'll do a bigger order, and I'll have a whole bunch of t-shirts. Definitely some girl shirts. So hit me up. My number's at the bottom of my homepage. Tim, unfortunately, this term is starting to look very similar to the first term, even when all the fraud and corruption this term is already uncovered, and those awake have witnessed for decades. Yeah, I mean, it's really not hard to find the corruption and fraud in the federal government. It really not, especially with, the former administration where, they walked in the door, threw the keys on the counter and threw the wallet on the counter and pretty much just went to bed. And whatever happened has happened over the last 4 years. And that includes my son Hunter coming in and having wild cocaine parties on my dime because he sold my name. Did he? I don't know. I have dementia. I don't remember who am I? Where am I at? Why is it called the White House? Yeah. And how far back do you think this little deep state cabal has been functioning? How far back? You said the 77, 78. Ding, 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 ding. Why? Well, out of nowhere, They picked this failed politician, failed oil man, and made him the director of the CIA. Who was that failed politician and failed oil man? George H.W. Bush. Oh, absolutely. Huh. Wonder how much intelligence experience he had prior to becoming director. He wasn't a CIA agent. He didn't work for the FBI. Oh, his father was Prescott Bush, Senator Prescott Bush. Oh, yeah, who with the Dulles took the OSS and created the CIA. Floyd. Great deduction. So, boom. What happened 2 years later after he was CIA director in 1980? Oh, he was vice president for 8 years. And then what happened after that? Oh, he was president for 4. Well, what happened after that? Oh, his minion got 8 more years. Yeah, you heard me right. William Jefferson Clinton. That is George H.W. Bush's bitch. Okay? That was his drug hub politician for Mena, Arkansas with Barry Seal. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it. And then after Clinton, what do we get? Obama cares about everybody but us. Cares about other men. Named Michael, allegedly. So all that time, you have the same system, the same people running that entire operation. So the deep state's been running it since then. Absolutely. Why do you think George W. Bush had to talk to his dad so often? The reason behind that. It's the reason why they're one of the largest private landholders in Paraguay, in South America. Yeah, the Bush family. Yeah, South America. Yeah, they just hopped right over Central America and went way down south to South America. And, you know, it's a coincidence, though, but that just happens to be the major narco drug hub internationally in South America. Hold on. I thought Colombia was a drug hub. Oh, no. Paraguay. Wow. What a coincidence that somebody who used to run the CIA will be the largest private landowner in a country that's now the largest narco trafficking hub in the world. Huh. Are no coincidences. We don't believe in those. So that's what's been going on in the government. So then we get Hillary thinking she's going to skate right in there on roller skates, and god damn, that 60-year-old woman got her cherry popped again. And that threw a monkey wrench. And they did everything they can to stop Trump. And then, well, they stole the election. And then we got 4 years of, I don't even know how to describe it, insanity. And that sanity's still bleeding over. And now we got Trump. And Trump pulled in who he thought was the best that he should have around him. And I'm questioning that now. Because while their intentions, their honor was all genuine prior to them getting to where they're at, getting that appointment, that nomination, that acceptance by Senate, and now they're in there. Do they get a visit just like the president nominees get when they're the nominee for their party? Yes. We have a video we'd like to show you. Oh, okay. Come on in. Have a seat. Holy shit. Why are we watching the JFK assassination? Because if you don't do what the fuck we tell you to do, when we tell you to do it, we're going to kill you in front of God and everybody and get away with it. That's why. Do you still want to be president? Because if you don't, you need to tell us now so we can get you out of the way and replace you with somebody who's going to do exactly what we tell them to do. All that little trifling stuff that you talked about on the campaign trail, just run it past us before you want to do it, and we'll approve it. But for the most part, we're going to let you do what you want to do. But when we say jump, if you're not in the air when we look at you, you're going to suffer some consequences. So is this the visit they're getting? Are they being shown their own videos of them watching Pornhub, or videos of them that where their smart devices were spying on them and they're doing something naughty that they shouldn't be doing, and they have that blackmail? Or were they just a bunch of nobodies mingling with a bunch of somebodies trying to become somebody and got caught up at a party, and before they know it, oh my God, they're watching a film of themselves at a freak off that they don't even remember. And they're not just having sex with the opposite sex, the underage. So did they get compromised somewhere down the line before they, decided they were going to accept their choice by Trump to become the nominee, and then to go through all the manifestations it takes to become a secretary or director or whatever? There's a lot of questions about the Trump administration that, we should be asking now. Stu Peters, he is like, whew, man, that guy, you would think Joe Biden was still in office the way he talks about Trump and the Trump administrative secretaries and directors and etc. And then you got David Nino Rodriguez questioning it as well. So it'll be interesting to see. You can't trust Fox News, so don't even think that that's your go-to source for information. I listen to them, but I listen to others as well. As you see, I watch the Economic Times, MSNBC, CNN, PBS. I don't give a damn. I'm just looking for the most genuine, authentic, logical, regional, rational news that I can find to present to you guys. A whole lot of t-shirts. Okay. All right. I'm out back sitting on my patio. The birds are singing. Rockin' Robin, tweet, tweet, tweet. Yeah. Gizmo's in Puerto Rico, folks. And JHJ, Catherine Austin Fitts, was the one who enlisted that University of Michigan professor to look at the Pentagon. Okay. I didn't know that. One of my viewers contacted me about that. Because when I brought that up, they was like, oh my God, Catherine Austin Fitts? And yeah, I know who she is. I've listened to her a lot. Haven't really paid attention to her lately. I try to listen to, I don't listen to every Joe Rogan. I don't listen to every Tucker. I listen to almost all the Tuckers. And it's a competition for your time, your eyeball time. And I get that. And that's why I'm not worried about subscribers, likes, shares, views, all that. Okay. Because I know it's a competition for information. Of course, I watch Weekend Warrior. He gets way out there. But for the most part, that's about it as far as other people on social media. I'm not watching anybody's videos on the RV. Nobody. Turn that off. So I have no outside source unless I'm reaching out to somebody to get that information, or unless you're sending it to me. As far as going listening to videos anymore of other people, not doing it. Not account for 2.3 trillion taxpayer donations. Yeah, it's just insane. Hey, Kiwi76, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Conspiratory. Who would judge the Supreme Court judges because they're the highest in the land? You're right. There has to be some accountability. And one branch has to be able to hold the other branch accountable, or both branches need to hold one branch accountable. I mean, what does that look like? This is why I say our justice system is broken. Our law enforcement system is broken. The democratic process in America is broken. All this is, we're a fractured society, obviously, because half of us are mentally ill. And those people have a voice. They get to vote. I mean, just imagine if you had to take a mental health test to vote. You had to be mentally competent to vote. Uh-oh. Did I just put that out there? Oh, boy. Not only do you have to present an ID that you are a U.S. citizen, but you have to be mentally competent to vote. It's kind of like getting sentenced to death. Because if you have a low IQ below 78 in Texas, they cannot execute you. You're too dumb to kill. However much sense that makes. So that's how I fuck with people. You're so stupid, Texas couldn't even execute you with a death penalty. They're like, huh? Because they don't know that it's 78. That'd be 156. Yeah, I'm close. But, you know, it would have to be, they would have to be charged by the DOJ, and then they'd be arrested by the FBI, taken into custody. And then they would be shipped off on the quickest Learjet, and Monkey Works would show us the flight and the flight plan and the flight number, where they'd be taken to a black site and held for treason against the nation without the aid of an attorney. I mean, you're seeing it, you're living it. I can't make this any clearer to you folks. What has happened? I mean, I can go get the book. I can put it all up in here and show you the rules. And it's not in there. I went over this yesterday because every state and federal prisoner in the country should be just like going ape shit in their cells. Ape shit. Because this is going to so fuck up every U.S. District Court, every court of appeals, because these guys, all these prisoners, and believe me, some of them have absolutely no business with a pen and paper in their hand. I mean, zero. Some of the shit that they have written has just been insane. I'd read it. I was like, oh my God. There you go, bro. But yeah, they're going to pound these courts. These courts are going to have to wade through this bullshit for years, try to figure this out because of this one event. That issue will be back in the United States Supreme Court. They're going to have to face this again. Some state or federal prisoner is going to they're going to hear me. They're going to watch this video, and they're going to go do it, and they're going to push the issue. They're going to get cited in the books because the Supreme Court's going to have to determine this, because we already know the Ninth Circuit over in California, they're going to rule one way, and the Fifth Circuit over here in New Orleans, which is a conservative, they're going to rule a completely different way. We're going to have a split circuit. Have to go to the Supreme Court to decide whether or not a habeas petitioner in state and or federal custody can come in and it's a class, but you just allowed all these illegal immigrants to come in as a class. And I don't even know if they all had habeas petitions pending, because you can't be part of a class if you don't have anything filed. They just can't automatically, because you're in custody, just go, oh, hey, you over there in Detroit, we're going to put you in this class, whether you want to or not. You don't have to know about it. You're in it. Like that quick. Makes you wonder how much of the BS we've been fed by the gurus is even remotely true, doesn't it? My money on the RVs being all BS. Yeah. Well, we figured that. And, that's up to you. And I totally comprehend your beliefs in your statement, because it's numbers. Some of these numbers that are being thrown out, you're going to get 18-1. No country could sustain a revaluation of an 18-1 exchange. I'm going to give you $18 for 1 unit of our currency. No. No. Now, is there a potentiality that you're going to get a greater return on your investment having invested in some foreign currency? Absolutely. That's very, very, very possible, especially when you see, gold going up. I expect silver to double any day. In fact, I think I'm going to go make a little visit tomorrow. Go see some friends. We have Transformers versus Deceptions. Yeah. All right. Also, the first 100 days of Trump as administration has been unmitigated. If you can't admit that, then you're in a cult. What do you mean? Define unmitigated. Because that word's got a lot of context in it of how to answer that. Didn't someone check Noel's military record and it didn't match up with his claims? Just saying. No, he has a Department of Defense ID. Actually, I have it on here. It's in the book. Yeah, he has all the credentials. He became a whistleblower. When you become a whistleblower, they tar and feather you. They sully your reputation. They put out misinformation, disinformation. Even your buddy Mark Z, the economist, has gone silent on Trump's economic brilliance. I don't know. I can't see the books. I mean, it sounds good, looks good, but we don't know if it's real. Oh, man. I'm going to say it. I don't think Texas can execute you with that statement. Harris. What was Harris's directive? Okay, Kiwi 76. Do you know this? Do you know the answer to this? What was Kamala Harris's directive from Joseph Biden regarding illegal immigration? Hey, Kathy, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a hot minute. Because in Texas, if you're a felon, you have to be off parole for 5 years, and you get your voting rights back. Or you can petition for the governor, but the only way you can get them back for the governor is your petition has to go before the Board of Pardons and Paroles. Once the Board of Pardons and Paroles approves it, it goes to the governor, and he might or might not approve it. And they very seldom do any of that. They're having an issue right now with parolees who've been paroled for end-of-life hospice called medical parole. And 5 of them have absconded, and they don't know where the hell they are. The prison system, parole board, will not release their names or their counties of conviction or their last known to the public or to the media. So yeah, a lot going on with that behind the scenes. Too many people discussing and talking about the NWO plan. They don't need our energy. Let's discuss our plan. Well, that's the thing. That's what we're kind of at right now here, Kathy. What's our plan look like? You know, do we just jump in the van with Trump and let the Trump train roll on and, you know, we just follow him blindly and loyally, like, you know, he's our saving grace, the next coming of Christ? Or do we question authority like we've been taught all along? I mean, I get it. A crucial county in Missouri had in-line office holders on the Democrat ballots. They know how to fool people. Had in-line office holders. Okay. Wano saving. Yeah, I know. What you can go find him. He's over on Nino's show all the time. Him and Chris Eriks used to be buddy. I mean, like best friends, according to Chris. And something soured in that relationship, and he went over and hooked up with Nino, and they pretty much been Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Don't trust anyone, you know, right? They divided church and state for a reason, and we need to get out and hold churches accountable. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, churches, religion, just like our government, you know, you belong to a congregation. You should hold your pastor, your clergyman accountable as well. You know, there's no reason they should have a 767 jet and then a private Learjet and a limo and live in a 64-room 72 bath mansion. You know, greed is the, you know, root of all evil. You keep naming the problem. What's the solution? You know, you're right, Kathy. And I wish I had a solution. When you can't argue with a sick mind, okay, there's really nothing we can say or do to these, you know, let's just say half the country, these 50% that are just talk to the hand, talk to the hand, talk to the hand. And that's all you're going to get. Right? Remember that? Talk to the hand. You're going to get some idiotic behavior like that because they just don't want to hear it. They're not going to hear it. Doesn't matter what it is. You told them about that, and you told them about all the follow-ups, and yet they continue to go. And the people were like me and just like and fell over dead live on TV. And they still don't believe you. There's still people running around wearing masks. In their cars. So yeah, we have a mental health problem, you know, food, beverages, air quality, USDA, FDA, complete overhaul. We have to completely redo the justice system, the education system. We have to redo our complete society. This society is constructed to keep you believing that you're free, but you're a freaking wage slave. That the only way out is to become extremely wealthy. They always say money can't buy happiness, but it goddamn sure can buy you some freedom. You may be miserable with it, but you're going to be free. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about getting up, going to work. You don't have to worry about getting up. You can sleep all day. You can stay in bed for a week. Nobody's going to miss you. like that. So there's a lot to it. And, you know, even with the correctional system, it's a pipeline from one institution to another. You know, you go to a public institution for your schooling, and then you go to a collegiate institution for your secondary education, and then you go get into another institution, and it could be the military industrial complex, it could be big pharma, the med, you know, whatever category. The way we process individuals who are convicted of crimes is the problem, because when that person has a law enforcement encounter, there's a reason. Okay. There's a reason. They might have an addiction and they're out trying to support that addiction. Well, that's a medical issue. They may have mental health problems. I mean, there's a variety of things that could cause them to be in the situation that they're in. So if you treat every single individual that's ever been convicted of a crime exactly the same, you're going to get the same results. Because the ones that are actually giving them any kind of treatment are the other inmates. They're schooling them how to be an inmate, how to become institutionalized, how to live under the thumb with somebody telling you when you can eat, sleep, shit, piss, spit, talk, walk. Yeah. So on the intake, it should be, you know, testing to figure out what's wrong with this individual. Do they have a low IQ? Do they have ADHD? Do they have autism? Are they schizophrenic? All these issues, or just did they have a drug problem? Do they get strung out on heroin, fentanyl, opium, opioids, LSD? Or just, you know, they accidentally took the wrong pill. Like one of my classmates in high school did that. He ate what we called 3-day quays. They were bathtub Quaaludes that somebody bootlegged and made. And you ate one of those, and baby, for the next 3 days, you weren't going to remember a damn thing of what you did. His dumbass ate one of those and went on a spree of robbing convenience stores all the way down the main street of our high school to our subdivision. Everywhere he shops, he's going in and robbing these fools fucked up on this quay. So there are different circumstances that will lead to people to be in that specific situation. Could have been a domestic issue. Boom. You know, dude's wife was cheating on him. He killed her and her man. So there's different strokes for different folks, and you can't just throw this blanket across every prisoner that they have the same problems and we're going to fix them the same way. That's impossible. So that whole thing has got to be changed. The way we teach our kids, we're not teaching our kids. We're just teaching our kids what we want to teach them that's in the freaking books. Because some commission, like here in Texas, the Texas Commission on Education, they're the ones that solicited the books for the criteria in the books and then went and vetted the books. And then what they didn't want or what they want added, they got put in there, and then they use those books. That's the curriculum. That's what those kids are going to be learning for the next 20 years. Those are the textbooks. That's how that education system works. So there's a lot wrong. You know, I'm just one person. I have a lot of different solutions. How well I can get them out there to where they can function, that's a whole different thing. I'm a pretty smart guy. I've lived through a whole bunch of different things. I've done a lot of different things. I have a lot of experience. But I'm only one person. I can only do so many things. I only have so much time in my day to do so much. I'm actually missing my concert. But that's all right. I'm here with you, and I'm rolling on 2.5 hours. So it is what it is. there's a lot of problems, Kathy. And I wish I could create a think tank that would just do nothing but solve these problems and create solutions so we could move on and be a better culture, better community. That's why I rave about Corey Inderlat so much, because, you know, he's young, he's bright, he's intelligent. He gets the whole freedom issue. Not only does he get the freedom issue, but he gets the health issue as well. And he even takes that further with permaculture. Okay. How do you sustain that type of livelihood? Permaculture. And he's constantly learning every day. He learns about herbs and minerals and supplements and, you know, how to prepare different things. That's the way to live off the land, just like, you know, the Native Americans did back in the day. It's not like, hey, we got to run into town, go to Walmart and pick up some seasoning so we can have some tacos tonight that actually take like tacos. Otherwise, we're just having ground meat and tortillas. Gizmo. You can take a horse to the river, but you can't make it drink. I'm there 30 years. I'm done. New beginnings for sure. Bye, bye, bye. Right. And I always say, listen, you know, I can dunk your head underwater, but I can't make you drink. More likely you're going to drown rather than just drinking and accepting it and moving on. And that's how I look at that. It's like, yeah, people are drowning and there's nothing I can do to save them. I can pull their head out of the water, but they're going to drown. It's sad. Story time with Wano Sabin. How you doing, Kevin? He loves stories. He told me a few. I only asked him one question. It wasn't even my question. I really didn't have anything to ask him. Like, what is he going to tell me that I don't already know, or that if he does tell me, I'm not going to be able to vet whether it's true or not. It's going to be so arcane or out of reach to be able to vet. We all have plenty to complain about. Let's come up with a plan to shift the people who truly care. You know, I get that. I get that. And that's, you know, another thing. And hey, you know, I told you guys yesterday when I was doing my show that I had no idea what I was going to talk about today. And here I am, you know, 2.5 hours talking about this that fell in my lap by the divine. But, you know, the reason I do these shows is just to save one person. Okay. Just one person. If somebody can send me a text, an email, say, hey, Floyd, thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for doing that video, or thank you for telling me about this person, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got that thank you today. Somebody hit me up. It's like, man, I almost joined Anna Von Rice's assembly. And then I stumbled across your channel. I joined your members only, went in and watched your Anna videos. And oh my God, thank you so much for saving me. And that's, you know, that's how it has to happen. It has to be organically. It's, you know, I beat this. I've received more emails in the last 2 weeks from David Strait than I think I did in the whole last year, all about his, you know, ceremony in Oklahoma City. So for those people over there, you know, milling around in those assemblies, going nowhere, going in circles, you're still going to be, I guarantee you, next April 23rd, 24th, tune back in. I'll still probably be doing shows, and you're still going to be in your assembly going in circles. Is what it is. Okay, you're in Arizona? All right. All right, Kiwi. I think it's only a matter of time until Floyd starts to expose all the BS, even that the RV is nonsense propagated by idiots who can't make an honest living. Well, you know, because I know some of the people that you're, you know, thinking about that, you know, you're alleging that don't make a honest living, but, you know, you can't say that for everybody. Maybe Diddy will reveal something May 5th. He's not going to reveal a goddamn thing. That dude, he's going to sit down and shut up. You saw what they did to Epstein? They disappeared that guy in front of cameras. shut up all the jailers. He hung himself with a sheet in a jail cell. I've done almost 18 years inside Texas prisons. And during those 18 years, and some of that includes working in the security office for the building major, where if something happened in the middle of the night, it was definitely going through me. And never once did I ever hear, see, experience anybody hanging themselves in a cell from a sheet or clothes or anything. As soon as they said that, Jeffrey Epstein hung himself in a cell, and I'm like, oh, really? Y'all are selling that? No. P. Diddy's going to shut up. They have people inside the prisons. Prison guards make, max $32,000 a year. You think somebody can't come in there and drop, $50K and have him taken care of? If you're in this world, you're affecting this world every day in some way. Yeah, absolutely. You're an organism of an organism. The earth is an organism. It is a living being. It just moves slow sometimes. Biblical times of the Romans. Yeah, absolutely. We're still in the Roman times. And don't think that this whole political charade and the economical financial house of cards that they have set up, this just didn't happen since 1913 when the Fed came in. It didn't happen in 1776 when this country became independent from England. No. What law are we under? Roman law. When did the Romans rule? Oh, thousands of years ago. Ding, bingo. That's how long they've been perfecting this. So don't think you're going to come in here overnight and change the world. It's not happening. They're too entrenched, too powerful. They have too many people that will blindly do whatever they tell them to do without question. Starting to look like his first term. I think it's 30 worse. Yep. Thought it was Peru. I guess we're talking about the Bush family, or Peru for the cocaine drug hub. Colombia, Peru. Yeah, well, I mean, they both vie for the cocaine production. The Peruvian flake, Peruvian pink. Yeah, I've done a bunch of that. Deep State has been running it since the first president of the corporation. They took over our founding fathers. Well, they were all Masons. That's the Illuminati. They just came over here and, did their thing here. Corrupted it from the beginning. Okay, Kiwi 76, go do your homework. I mean, you're more than welcome to go do your homework. Go look at the statistics. You'll find out. I already did a video on it. I already went and did the research. I did a whole video. Barry Seal. Okay. This is how fucking deep it goes. Don't think for a minute it doesn't. If you don't know who Barry Seal is, Barry Seal was the #1 narco pilot for the whole Iran-Contra affair. He was the #1 pilot. The CIA built him an airport in Mena, Arkansas, just to fly into for drugs. Receive weapons, fly them to Nicaragua, pick up money, go to Colombia, get cocaine, fly the cocaine back to Arkansas, and repeat. Barry Seal's aircraft, Beechcraft. Barry Seal was assassinated by the Medellin cartel for snitching. Barry Seal got pulled over in Louisiana by the Louisiana State Police. They searched his vehicle. They found a lone phone number in the trunk and called it. And guess who answered? George H.W. Bush. Well, after Barry Seal was assassinated, Wonder where his plane ended up. It ended up in the Texas Air Force, owned by the state of Texas. And guess whose favorite plane that was to fly in of all the planes in the inventory for the state of Texas as governor of Texas? George W. Bush loved Barry Seal's Beechcraft. Coincidence? The number one narco trafficker in the world at the time was not Pablo Escobar, was not the Medellin cartel, wasn't even all the cartels combined. It was George H.W. Bush. Beer. Water fights. Oh, they wanted those artesian wells underneath there as well. But just why did it become a major narco traffic hub? You never heard anything about Paraguay being a narco traffic hub. It was always Colombia, Peru, even Venezuela, even Panama. Not Paraguay. Until somebody bought land there. Then it became real high profile. Israel, saved for last for a reason. Oh, you're in Florida? Okay, I didn't know that. What part of Florida? It's coming? All right. Soldier of Right with Catherine Hedridge. Looking forward to Catherine Hedridge's report. I don't even know anything. What do you mean, Floyd? You're always commenting on Mark's channel. Has that stopped? I stopped watching everybody. I just don't have time. I don't want to, I don't care about the RV news anymore because, nobody's right. You can give me updates about what, it's like Militia Man. Militia Man, look, God bless him. God bless his team. They're doing what they do. But you can listen to him drone on for 20 to 30 minutes every day, every other day. And he's just basically telling you the same thing he told you last month. Well, so-and-so in Iraq said this, and, they're doing this, and they got it over here, and then, they're trying to do this and that, the HCL this, and blah, 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 and I'm asleep. And that's the problem. They're all telling the same thing. Somebody sent me Holly's video today. Why do I want to watch? Why would I want to watch Holly? What's she going to tell me that's going to benefit my life between now and the time I walk in with currency to exchange? If she's not going to tell me anything information about that event, I'm wasting my time, and this is nothing against the people out there that do it. And I used to watch Mark for Mark's news, his world news. Okay. I could care less about the RV news because it's just a bunch of articles. I can go find the same stuff myself. You just have, he's just condensing it for you. So it's a one-stop shop. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm just, that roller coaster. People used to send me, oh, this date's coming up, this Muslim, and I'm like, man, stop. How do you do that? Why do you do that? That's just no way to live to me. That's not happiness. That's not enjoyment out of life. I don't want to, wake up every morning going, oh, dang, man, today the RV is going to happen. No, I just want to live my life. And, if I get a text and, hey, Floyd, it's time to go. I'm like, oh, cool. Fuck today. All right, let's make this happen, because until I actually have a tangible exchange, it's still a pipe dream. It's just a fantasy. It's just a story. That's how I look at it. And I'm just not investing my time, money, and energy in that narrative. I choose to spend my time, money, and energy elsewhere, doing other things, whether it's editing a book, writing a book, I'm working on a children's book, something I've, been putting off. So I'm using AI to assist me with that. And that's, it can only go so fast because you only get so much free. I'm not going to get another subscription to something else. But anyway, I'm doing that on the side. So I always have something going on. I always try to stay positive, one step forward. Even days when I don't want to do anything, I try to do something. So when I lay down at the end of the night, I can go, at least I did that. So I got something done. You know, the day wasn't a complete wash, wasn't a waste. So yeah, that's it. I'm just, you know, no one knows the truth about the RV, and I only listen to Mark Z. Truthers are not truthers. You know, they're all liars. You know, that's, yeah, a lot of them are like that. That's why you really don't hear me, you know, throwing out rates or dates or any kind of speculative shit, because, you know, I don't want that on my own conscience, having to, you know, because I went through this with prison, all the crazy shit I did. I had to relive it in prison. You know, this is why you're here, bro. This is why you've been here for 14 fucking years. Okay. It's not because you were speeding down Westheimer, you got your third DWI. It's because all the other shit you did that you didn't get caught doing. You're paying the price now. So get it all out of the way, accept it, roll on, try to improve your life, live the best life that you can where you're at. So, you know, I zoned out in prison, and I was just, I focused nothing but law. I went and got a law degree. That's what I did. I got something way beyond a jurisprudence. Okay. That little JD that they get, because that's just basic law. I was, you know, you want to know about DWIs, criminal law, appellate law, state post-conviction, federal post-conviction, actual innocence, wrongful convictions, junk science, forensic science, you know, commercial law. I can go on and on and on and on. And I specialize in most of that. I've studied it and studied it and studied it. I agree, Firecracker. All these so-called truths out there are full of it. In fact, I'm sure Mark knows it's all BS. He's just using it as a means to earn a living. Kiwi, I have visited Mark. Okay. I haven't been in Mark's house. I've been to Mark's house. I haven't been in Zester's house, but I've been to Zester's house. Okay. And Mark has a business in Puerto Rico. And when he wants to share what it is, how it is, where it is, all that information, that he's more than welcome to do that on his show. Okay. But he has a legitimate existing business down there right now. In our conversations, because I asked him specifically about this, I said, what do you need down here as far as personnel? Okay. I need smart people who are motivated and make things happen. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You're talking to one. That's what's going on. So, does he make money from the show? Yeah, I'm sure he does. You know, he has a ton of different sponsors and all kind of products that he advertises for. Yeah, and he should be compensated for that because, you know, Kiwi, let me explain something to you. To organically build an audience of 100,000 people on YouTube is work. I don't give a fuck what else you're doing. It's work. To produce 2 shows a day, Monday through Friday, sometimes 3 on Wednesday with Whiskey and Wisdom, 1 on Saturday. That doesn't include the guest appearances he does on other people's shows. That's work in of itself. So yeah, it's a job. He should get compensated for his job. You know, I've been at this, you know, I'm going on my 3rd hour right now. So it took me about an hour to set all this up, you know, do the thumbnail, get everything ready. Sometimes it doesn't look like I did anything, but yeah, there's a little preparation. So it is a job. It is work. So don't think for a minute he shouldn't be compensated, because every man should be paid for their work. That's just a fundamental maxim. So I can vouch personally as an eyewitness under oath, because I swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, that Mark's show is not his sole source of income. Okay. Does he make money? I'm sure he does. You know, do I make money on this platform? Let's just say there's revenue generated, and have I ever pulled any revenue from YouTube or Rumble or any other social media platform for what that social media platform has earned? No, it's still there, whatever it is, and it's nothing. You know, it might be a couple $100, if that. It's peanuts in the grand scheme of things. You know, I'm not making a fortune, but you have to say, okay, well, you know, I got my website, I got to pay for StreamYard, I got to pay for all this, you know, services and stuff. So, you know, in the long run, I'm losing money, what it amounts to, if you look at it in that aspect. But Floyd, Barra sidekick Jennifer says Jesus told her the RV is real. I don't know anything about, I don't even know Jennifer. You could waltz Jennifer, I would say Jennifer Lopez and Jennifer Gentel in my house. And I wouldn't be able to tell you which one was which, but that would be a misnomer because I definitely know. But yeah, if you brought your sister and Jennifer Gentel, you brought her in my house right now, I couldn't tell you who was who. I don't know what she looks like. So I don't follow Mike. I got kicked out of Mike's Telegram room for talking about Wolverine or something. Something I said. I don't last long in other people's rooms. You know, as soon as I open my mouth, I'm out of there. In line means they all get in office. Oh, okay. Oh, she's a stooge. Okay. She's an Illuminati puppet. Bet that. Her whole career, they made that happen for that woman because whatever they want, she was going to give it to them. Absolutely. Yeah, he is. He's all, you know, I don't follow him, so I don't know. You know, I watch Nino because Nino's from Texas. So I get that little Texas flavor in the news every now and then. What he talks about. I don't watch him. I don't watch all of his shows. Definitely don't pay for his subscriptions. And he has a big company behind him that does most of his stuff for him. And now he has an assistant, Alex. Question authority. Trump is an elite. I love him, but I don't trust him yet. I don't see anything getting better for us. The little guy, you know, when I tell you folks, you know, I'm in this unique position that I've lived this really unique life. And I mean that. And I've met, God, I've lost count of how many billionaires that I personally met. It's like 4 or 5, maybe. Okay. It's very difficult to meet a billionaire, but once you meet them, and then once you're around somebody that's, you know, a multimillionaire, so many millions that they're never going to worry about anything in their life, and they act like it, they spend like it. So I've been around those people that can buy anything they want, do anything they want. And when you're around those people, it's a different world. Women are different, men are different, everything's different. When you hit the billionaire status because of your financial power, okay, you can corner markets, you can change governments, you can change countries. You get a visit. Hi, here's our card. We want you to join the Billionaires Boys Club. Oh, wait till you see all the perks. Here she is, Miss July. No? How about Miss September? She's not even out yet. And you guys think I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. Hang on. Let me go see if Mickey will pop up. I'm looking for people I know. I'll just search for her. There she is. Just to show you guys, okay? I'm playing. This is Mickey Chernoff, and she's now been married more. And guess what she used to be? She was the talent scout in Houston, Texas for Playboy magazine. Oh, yeah. And while she's not my Facebook friend, Mickey. So she's a photographer now. And she does makeup and photography. But you see all the beautiful women, beautiful people. And this is who I used to hang around with. People just like her and her posse full of potential Playboy bunnies. Penthouse Pets went in that as well because Earl Miller, who was a Penthouse photographer, was based here in Houston, Texas. I'm telling you, folks, I had fun. I had so much goddamn fun. But it should have been, it was outlawed. I had so much fun. They sent me to prison. I was having too much fun. That's what happened. I was very happy when I had money. Yeah, I agree. Our system as injustice, mental health, medical, educational, and many others it's all screwed up. The whole system's screwed up. This system is created to suppress you. The education system, the medical system. Most of it was created by John D. Rockefeller. So you might as well say Rothschild, okay? Has the same connotation. States constitutionally can't be the victim. That's a good argument. Allegedly. Behiji 78. I hope I pronounced that right. I live in New Jersey and I've been trying to go after the state for fraud, but I'm surrounded by people that are zombies. Yeah. And, it's so difficult when you're fighting in your own backyard because of the repercussions and circumstances that they can deliver upon you. You go to court and, they tell you to do something, you don't do it. And then the bailiff comes up and he or she's trying to handle you and you're not trying to hear it. And boom, before you know it, you're arrested for resisting arrest and assaulting a police officer. And yeah, and it just gets way out of hand real quick. So I advise everybody who's, you're fighting the good fight and you're doing the right thing. Just be cautious and careful about what you do. Make sure you have plenty of witnesses and backups for everything that you do. Record it, document it. If you're going to go fight that fight, the good fight for us and everybody else, your community, even the ones that don't know, don't care, hate your guts, even fighting against you, God bless you, more power to you, but please be careful. I can't tell you how many stories where I get people calling me, emailing me, where they're doing the same thing. And before you know it, they're like, Floyd, they got me for resisting arrest, assaulting a police officer, disorderly conduct, just this laundry list of charges that never happened. It's just to make a point. Busybody counts in de facto government, too bad people to reinforce them. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they just passed a Doge bill here. And that'll be very interesting because when I was in prison, I worked for Texas Correctional Industries, which is what's that called in the BOP? ERCOT, I want to say. But it's basically an industry corporation owned by the state's prison system here in Texas. Part of that correctional industry was computer recovery. Computer recovery was a facility that all electronics from all governmental entities, colleges, universities, hospital systems were sent to this facility to be either refurbished or salvaged and sold off as scrap. Well, because in Texas, if you don't use every penny of your budget, the next legislative session, which is a two years here in Texas, you lose that money, your budget. So if your budget's $1 million, you only spend 900,000. Guess what? Next 2 years, you're only getting 900,000. So what these people do to keep their budget, okay, they'll buy printers, inkjet printers. Instead of buying replacement ink cartridges, they buy a replacement printer. So what happened to the printer that's out of ink? Oh, it gets scrapped and sent to computer recovery, where we would get semi-truck trailers full, pallets, floor to ceiling, wall to wall inkjet printers. What's wrong with them? They're out of ink. What? Not a scratch on them. Brand freaking new. Truckload after truckload after truckload. Scrapped. A nickel a pound. Sold to a company right over here on Harlan. I went and looked at the books. I was like, what's this? What's this about? So we're going to have to see how that Doge works. I'm sure it'll be an utter failure here in Texas. Niacin reduced. Okay. I don't know if I can say that on here, so I'm not going to. Well, allegedly, until I see a Arkansas state death certificate, I don't think I'm believing it. I think David Lester Straight was in debt. And he's skating. That's what I think. And I'm not going to talk about David Straight because I know a whole lot of information. So, yeah. 18 years in prison. You're well indoctrinated into their systems. No, I bucked the system. That's why they had to change policies and procedures and rules in prison behind me. They changed the state law behind me because I did not become institutionalized. In fact, they kicked me off my unit, sent me to another unit because they didn't know what the hell I was doing. But Tarvin, you're not going to do it on my unit. That's what they told me. So from that unit, I went to my in-prison therapeutic treatment program unit in Brownwood, Texas at the Havens unit. I get there and I'm doing my initial meeting with the warden, the head of classification, and the head LCDC. And the head LCDC tells me, oh, you're too smart for your own good, aren't you, Tarvin? And in 6 months, I had my whole building on lockdown doing reflections that I created because I was playing big time psychological games with everybody. And the head LCDC in my building wanted me to repeat and do another 6-month program, do it over. Head LCDC told her, oh, hell no, that dude's going home. You're getting him off this unit. No, never have I been institutionalized. Ever. And I was telling somebody this yesterday, okay? Fighting for other people. We were in the day room. We were, oh God, I don't even remember what cell block we were on, but it was definitely on the WIN unit. And I was in the day room, I don't know what I was doing in there because I'm usually not in the day room. But in all day rooms, there's 2 televisions in these day rooms in the Texas prison system, okay? The hallway, that TV right next to the hallway windows is always on the sports channel. Why? Because they want that group of people sitting right by the windows so they can watch them to see if they're gambling. Gambling's a disciplinary violation. On the other side, farthest away, is the movie TV. So they wanted to watch sports on the movie TV and movies on the sports TV. So they did that. And then the guards came in and changed it back. And they said, no, we want to do it the other way. So it came to the point where we were just unplugging the TVs and just sitting in the day room doing nothing, playing dominoes and chess and checkers and grab ass and bumping and all that bullshit. And they were all fucked up about that. No. You're not going to sit in the day room and not watch TV. We're turning those TVs on. So they came in and turned it back on. So we unplugged them again. So it eventually got to where, okay, now we're going to riot. We're going to buck up on this shit. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, goddamn these guys. Finally, I got some action on this unit. Somebody's going to stand up and do something. I wasn't even watching TV, could care less about TV, don't give a damn about sports then or now. And I was the last person in the day room, standing under the fan with a wet t-shirt over my mouth, looking at the Ninja Turtles, which they call the SORT team. They got the chest protectors, the full headgear, the whole arm shins, leg shins, just all geared up, tear gas guns, all pointed at me. While everybody else went to their cell. And I'm cussing them all out. All the way back to my cell. I'm cussing everybody out. Even my cellie. My cellie abandoned me. So be sure that when you're fighting the fight, you're fighting the right fight for the right reasons for the right people. So, no. I'm the furthest thing from what you would call institutionalized. Yeah, it's just that's the Illuminati, the NWO. Rome's Vatican. How you doing, David? Welcome to the show. Cuckoo Clock. Yep. Truly unique content. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for showing up. Z Jing Jones. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I don't mean to massacre it. Hey, Chick Shaw. Paraguay has another connection. Nazis in Odessa line, South America. Escape for war criminals. There's a lot going on down there. There's a big river down there. And then, of course, they have the aquifers underneath, which I think it's like 500,000 acres of aquifer. Some of the purest, cleanest water in the world. Dr. Kia Puett does geopolitical news. Love her too. Yeah, sometimes she's off with her stuff. I don't watch her. The old Shah of Iran is the largest landowner in Mexico. It's like they have mini kingdom down there in exile. That wouldn't surprise me. Church of Latter-day Saints is big down in Mexico as well. Actually, the Shah of Iran cannot own land in Mexico. You have to be a Mexican citizen to own land in Mexico. You can lease it, but you can't own it unless you're a Mexican citizen. Gizmo, walk barefoot, lay down, put a blanket on the grass. It helps the back too. Sunbathe, it helps. I sunbathe all the time. I'm always out in the sun. I'm barefooted right now. And your baby girl's letting you know it's her time, right? Hugh Hefner was a CIA bad guy. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. And it's easy. It's easy. You know, I've told y'all about the time when I went down to South Padre Island for spring break. And I had 3 dancers with me. And I had no idea Tommy Morrison was going to be there. I went down to see my friend, John Trevison, who's best friends with Tommy Morrison, the late Tommy Morrison. And so we go see John and boom. Oh my God. Tommy fucking Morrison. Are you serious? Dude, you just won the heavyweight championship last week and Rocky came out a month ago. Oh my God, this is going to be fucking great. until one of his friends from Jersey walked out and said, "Hey, man, give me a cigarette." Yeah. What do I look like? A cigarette machine? Give me a fucking $1. I'll give you a cigarette. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, I had to beat that dude up in front of Tommy. And of course, that ended our little visit over at the condo. It cost John over $30,000 to pay for in damages that these knuckleheads from New Jersey did to John and Tommy's condo out of ignorance and stupidity. But yeah, we got to go do the whole South Padre spring break club hopping, after hour partying with Tommy Morrison. And I watched Tommy knock these chicks down just one after another in the bathroom. To the point where people, hey, Tommy, hey, whoa, let me go take a piss before you go back in there. From one party to the next party, I mean, just amazing stamina that guy had. But like that, when you have that power, that aura, how easy it just people throw themselves at you. And I've been in that position where they've done that. Where, you know, I used to work at a male strip bar, and yeah, women used to throw themselves at me, and I'd let them. I'm telling you, I had so much fun. Fun. It's incredible. The experiment started in pre-World War I Germany, brought over here. The deep state goes way back. Oh, it goes even beyond that. I have a feeling that, the way history's brought to us, and we know that history is jaded. It's not always accurate for a reason. But it's my belief that England sent some ships over here. It's like, oh my God, look at all that land over there that we can go take over, but we have to take over in the right way. So we need to send the right people to do it. And that's what they did. They sent some of their best and brightest, because when you look at the framers of the United States, the foundational builders, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, Washington, Andrew Jackson, some of these early presidents and political and governmental employees, because obviously Alexander Hamilton was never a president, but he was a treasurer and had great influence. Benjamin Franklin, there's another one. So they sent their best and brightest over here for a reason. Because obviously at that same time, you compare Europe to the people in the United States, who's more notorious or infamous for what they did? Obviously the people that were over here in the United States at the time. Unicorn, there you go. Yeah, thank you. I've been it's been over a decade since I've had to remember that shit. You only talk about that really when you're in prison. Bill Maher's, Hugh Hefner's son. Yeah, I mean, if you can't not see that resemblance, then you're missing out. Plus, all the time that Bill Maher spent at the Playboy Mansion. Of course, I have friends that have been to the Playboy Mansion multiple times. Obviously, ex-girlfriends and friends that have stayed at the Playboy Mansion as Playboy bunnies and Playboy playmates. In fact, if you go look at May 1994 issue of Playboy magazine with Elle Macpherson on the cover, the centerfold is Shay Marks. Shay Marks is from Mississippi via New Orleans, Louisiana, Houston, Texas. And the photographs that you see in that magazine is the exact time that we were dating. And of course, she went and did her test shoot, came back to Houston. They called her, said, okay, you're either Miss May or June, but we want to fly you back out to do a rap video. And that was the last time I ever saw her in person. The actual next time I saw her She was on an episode of Married with Children with Ted Bundy. She was one of Ted Bundy's hot tub girls. So, yeah, like I said, I've had a really extraordinary life. It's been fun. I think you're right. Faked his own death. Yeah, we're talking about David Strait. Yeah, something in the whole scheme of how that operates doesn't function right for me because, I can get into his whole wife thing, but somehow she got her parole in Texas transferred to Arkansas after coming off a parole revocation hearing in which her parole got reinstated, and having get transferred to another state within 6 months after that happens is unlikely. It's a possibility. But then again, why are they in Arkansas to begin with? And then if David has cancer, why the hell are you in Arkansas for any kind of cancer treatment? If you have cancer and you're going to go for traditional Western cancer rehabilitation, you're going to be at MD Anderson Hospital in Houston, Texas, in the Med Center, the #1 oncology center in the world. You're not going to be in Arkansas. And then if you pay attention to anything in social media, you already know what works for that. We all know what works for it now. We all know what it is and how to fix it. Which were you as a legal guy on the inside? I was what they call a writ writer in Texas, or for nomenclature across the country. Elsewhere, they're called jailhouse lawyers. And that's using the term very loosely. Indoctrinated. Yeah, they are different. In Texas, they used to order books and pocket parts, but some law librarian got this crazy ideation. Why do we have to keep continuing to buy pocket parts for over 100 different prison units? Why don't we just make them request the case they want to see, and then we'll print it from the Westlaw online CD-ROM disc that we get every quarter, and we'll print out the case for them and give it to them the next day, and they can only do 3 cases per law library session. That's what it's come down to, that it's almost impossible to realistically litigate in a Texas prison under the current Texas rules of all procedure, civil procedure, criminal procedure, rules of evidence, appellate procedure, because it's so difficult to get in there to study and research to meet a specific timeline. If you've got to answer a motion within 15 days, you're going to have to get an extension. And if they don't grant the extension and deny it, that's a hearing you're not going to attend. This is, and I filed a RICO lawsuit on that. And while I was in the computer recovery, ding, hey, we got all these A+ certification classes and this Microsoft and all these people getting all these IT degrees in here, and they're refurbishing all this shit. Well, why don't we create an intranet that's connected to Access to Court's headquarters in Huntsville, Texas, and then spreads out in a spider web to all the different prison units, and everything goes through the Access to Court's headquarters through the intranet and goes through a firewall, and any offender can sit down to a keyboard, a mouse, a USB drive, and a monitor and access Westlaw Online or LexisNexis in real time, download anything that they need to do onto their USB drive instead of having all these mountains of law books and all these legal papers and everything, and your transcripts and your clerk's record and your appellate record and all this other shit. But now everything's on one neat little drive. And because you have a TDCJ number that's registered to penetrate the firewall, you have access to courts, which means you can email any court clerk, any judge, any licensed bar attorney, anywhere in the country. In fact, anywhere in the world, as long as they're approved and let you pass through the firewall. Dismissed. Yeah. So don't think I wasn't in there trying. Don't think I wasn't in there thinking, because I was. It's 9:13. And those were the days they were. And Playboy bunnies were MK altered, some ritually abused. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them I know. Some of them, like Lynn Johnson. Lynn Johnson was the 20th anniversary Penthouse pet. She dated Wayne Newton when Wayne Newton was all the rage in Vegas. She was there living with him. Y'all can go look her up too. She was a good friend of mine. The stuff that Bob Guccione made her do, she would sit there and tell me about it. We'd be smoking crack. She's like, oh, yes, Scotty. She said, Scotty, you wouldn't believe what Bob made me do on the set for that photo shoot. And I'm like, I'm sure you're going to tell me, Lynn. What's up? Give me that. Give me that. My turn. And then she would proceed to just give me this, yeah. So, yeah, definitely highly sexually abused, emotionally abused, mentally abused. They pick them out. They know who they are. You know, they get starstruck, and then before they can have a chance to grasp the enormity of what they're all in now, they just keep getting overwhelmed, taken advantage of, and then all screwed up. Maybe David Strait was taken out because he knew too much. David Strait doesn't know shit. You know, I hate to say that, you know, and I hate to even talk about it, him or anything like that, you know, and God bless him, because I hear people say, you know, yeah, he went into court and he got down for me, but, you know, we lost. Of course you lost, because David doesn't know anything. None of his shit works. Sorry. Brian Benny. Hey, Fearless Floyd, what's your contact info? Me and my wife need to do a consultation. Need some help with something private. Thanks for everything you do. Go to my website, thefearlessfloydshow.com. Scroll down to the very bottom. You're going to see my cell phone number. It works 9 to 9 Central Standard Time right here. I answer it. If you call me outside those hours, it doesn't ring. I don't pay attention to it. It's a brick after hours unless I'm actually looking for something on it. But I answer it. So if you call me tomorrow, we can have a discussion. Breaking news, Virginia Giuffre, Prince Andrew accuser, dies by suicide. So she was hit by a bus about 3 to 4 weeks ago, posted that she was going to die from, renal failure? And then came out and said, oops, I didn't mean to post that. And now she dies of suicide. Thank you for that, expialidocious. The clerk of courts can be your best advocate. They can. And, I've had long discussions with some people about this over the last week or so, especially for the people that are doing all the private processing, because I got a phone call today. Somebody needed some CPS help. And, of course, when you tell me about a legal issue, there's just so much involved to try to really even give you an answer that's acceptable to me to give to you. Okay. So I'm not the guy that's going to blow smoke up your ass. I'm going to be the black and white guy. I'm going to be the guy that's going to try to break your heart, tell you, oh, no. Yeah. Wishful thinking, but that's not going to work. That's the guy I am. So they can be your best friend, but the problem, and this is what I tell everybody, I'm reading this book right here, okay? Modern Banking, Commercial and Credit Paper in 5 parts. Now, after I read this book, okay, I should be able to go into a bank and talk to a vice president of the bank of the commercial division, right? And they should know everything in this book, I would assume, because obviously they didn't get to become vice president of the commercial division by being a dumbass, being stupid, uneducated. So now I know everything in this book. I know how commercial paper operates. I know exactly what to say. I know all the terminology and phrases and words, and I can bedazzle a beetle on the head of a pin. But he doesn't have a fucking clue what I'm talking about, because that's not the education he's got. So this is the problem we're having. You're so overeducated that when you talk to these people or you draft a legal vehicle or whatever vehicle that you have that you're trying to get some remedy, some action, it's so over the head of the people that you're talking to or sending it to, they're lost. They're just like you before you even picked up this book. They couldn't tell you a thing about banking. So with all the knowledge, education that you've taken all this sacrificial time, money, and energy to learn, now you're expecting them to be on your same intellectual level, and they're not. To find that person is so difficult that totally understands everything that you're talking about. And they're like, oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah. And then they'll repeat the statute or the code or the section number back to you because they know it. Or they'll finish it for you because they know it. And the difficulty of finding that person or those persons in the actual place that you want something to happen seems to me, through experience and talking to all of you out there over and over for countless hours, that's the disconnect. That functionality, you may be spot on, legally correct, lawfully correct, constitutionally correct. Hey, you came correct, but they don't know. That's how I look at that. My understanding is if anyone famous, they were compromised and sold their souls, even if they didn't want to. I think there comes a time when, one-hit wonder bands, they come, they blow up, they're going to take over the world, the music industry, and then they're gone. Like, wow, man, they were so talented, so good. Thought they had a promising future. I was waiting for that sophomore album to come out, and you don't know why. And then some of the band members, they're just completely out of the industry anymore, or the film industry, same thing. They get in there, they find out what it's really all about, and they're out. Suicides in the news an hour ago. Well, I've been hanging out with you guys, so I haven't had a chance to watch the news. That's sad, but I'm pretty sure we know what happened, right? Now we got that other half of America out there who, okay. The banking book and bankers specialized in compartmentalized knowledge. The bank president is the expert in handshaking. The legal accountant might know it. Bank president is the front man. Yeah. Generally, if you want to get something done with a corporation, talking to the CFO and the president and the CEO, they're not really decision makers. You want to talk to the registered agent or the indentured trustee. Those are the ones that can make shit happen. They're the ones that pick up the phone and go, hey, give him what the fuck he wants and get him out of here. Click. Where CEO is going to go, well, Ethel, can you call legal and have them send Edward up here? Hang on. I need somebody from legal here. That's how that works. Jekyll Island, great book by G. Edward Griffin. Explains a lot about money. Everything is a rich man's trick. People in our systems are compartmentalized. Most know their jobs. Yep, that's absolutely right. Very compartmentalized. Tavistock, yep, programming, especially with the Beatles. And Gizmos in a rose. Well, I wonder what happened to Kiwi, what is it, Kiwi 76? Because I gave you a task. I gave you a goal. It's pretty simple. What was Kamala Harris's task authorized by Joseph Biden regarding illegal immigration? Her task was to find the root cause of illegal immigration. That's it. Go find the root cause. When I was in Puerto Rico, not last August, but the August before that, 2 years ago, 2023. And one of the cats that I was staying with in my hostel was an editor for ESPN Soccer International. So he could work anywhere in the world remotely, which was cool as shit. So he had been traveling everywhere. He had just come from Colombia to Puerto Rico. Before Colombia, he was in El Salvador. So I'm asking him, hey, what's Colombia like? Where all did you go? Blah, 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 this. You've been to El Salvador? Ooh, what was that like? And he told me, he goes, that's the safest place I've been. I'm like, what? Yeah. Safest country I've been in yet. I'm like, El Salvador, really? No gangs? No. I'm like, okay. And I kind of doubted him. But apparently, that seems to be the deal. So if you didn't watch my videos about Kamala Harris, and this is the reason why I hit up Kiwi about it, if you go to usaspending.gov and look at the money laundering that the Partnership for Central America set up. Who set that up? Kamala. Well, she didn't, because she's not intellectual enough to set up that type of organization, but obviously her team set it up for her. So it seems, yep, the Epstein girl was put to sleep, sadly. That's crazy. That's crazy. But another interesting thing that happened that kind of went under the radar, and I don't pay attention to pro sports, but when it came out, it was like, oh, no question about that. That Dwayne Wade, a NBA Hall of Famer, world champion with the Miami Heat, who played with Shaquille O'Neal and won a championship there, came out as bi with his transgender child. And then his wife, who's a film star, Gabrielle Union. I wonder what that whole household looked like. Doesn't surprise you. Funny, my old Airbnb condo down there in TJ a couple days ago, the Mexican National Guard and the cartels had gun battle. I'm 5 miles from there, and another Airbnb, thanks goodness. Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, it's going to get pretty hairy down there. David Rodriguez is expecting a war down there, really. I don't see a war. I don't see them. I don't see the cartel doing that. Oh, I haven't even brought up ding, 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 ding. Didn't run the banner. There's the banner. This is on the bridge product. This is the fundraiser for Ann's Bridge that got washed out. I extended this today because I got a couple phone calls about people that didn't get paid till 5 o'clock today. Couldn't get any funds until tomorrow. So instead of just, waiting for them to do a one-off deal, I was like, man, Easter, short week. Bump it just till the weekend. Just run it. Forget about it. And take care of everybody when they want to come get a deal. So there you go. It's been extended till Monday at 5 p.m. If you've been waiting for this sale or you know somebody who has, 50% off, if not more, on select products. That would include the On Trust ebooks as well as the classes. So check them out. Get them. I actually got a thank you yesterday or the day before. Somebody was waiting on this sale, and it popped up just in time for them. So glad I could be there. So, all right, I've been here for 3.5 hours. I hate looking at videos like Sean Ryan that's 4 hours. I'm like, God damn it, I got to sit through 4 hours, Sean. Really? So I don't want to do that to you. But thank you all for hanging out with me on this Friday night. If you're going to go out tonight, be safe, be careful, come back home in one piece without felony or misdemeanor convictions or arrests. I don't know if I'll do anything over the weekend as far as shows. Who knows? I may or may not. Obviously, I have a 6-minute promo coming up. So if you want to bug out now, more than welcome to. I won't be offended. I have one more comment. Let me come catch that. You are welcome. Glad I could be a benefit to you guys. So I just want you to be aware of what's going on, especially with these judges and justices, whether this is going to be a linchpin to open the doors, the barn doors. You know, maybe these are a couple shots over the bow to kind of test the water, whether or not this is going to be acceptable across the country. If the left and the mentally ill are going to accept this, are they going to riot in the streets? Are we going to see BLM and Antifa, you know, burning our towns down? How's the media going to cover it? Is it a psyop? I don't know. Are there red flags at the White House? Oh, yeah, and they go all the way to Mar-a-Lago, so don't think they don't for a minute. Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the prize. Thank you, everyone, for being here and hanging out with me tonight. Much appreciated. I'll see you when I see you. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Thank you for hanging around to watch this special promo on the new book by Ann LaFleur and Fearless Floyd, Specialty Trusts. We'll dive right in. There's the cover to the On Trust books. That's the first book that Ann wrote. This is the third edition on revocable, irrevocable, foreign, charitable, remainder, express, college education, and land trusts. It has instructions, templates, examples, everything you need in this trust or in this book to run these 7 different trusts. Everything you need. Here's the table of contents. And please disregard the error bookmark, not defined, notices on the right hand of the screen. There is a lot of redundancy in this book simply because the simplicity of how it was adopted from the classes. So you're going to see, you know, a trustee appointment letter in every one of the trusts when you just really need one and just change the information. Here we go. This is a specialty trust cover. And here are all the trusts that are available in this book. How to create and operate specialty trust, full instructions, templates, and examples to create and operate. A Q-tip, a qualified terminal interest property trust, qualified personal residence trust, irrevocable life insurance trust, third-party special needs trust, community property trust, asset protection trust, discretionary trust, ministry trust, decedent trust, charitable trust, special needs trust, perpetual family trust, testamentary discretionary trust, grantor retained annuity trust, irrevocable farm trust, pets trust, AB trust, and marital trust, as well as the bonus DNA trust addendum. Here is the table of contents. And again, please disregard the error bookmark at not defined. And here we go with the DNA trust. Wanted to show you guys a little bit of this. That's the first 3 pages right there. This is the bonus. You can add this to any one of the trusts. It doesn't matter whether it's a revocable, irrevocable, foreign, express, pets trust, same thing. if you'd like to get one of the books or a combination or a package. The ebooks are available for $249 each, and that's either the On Trust or Specialty Trust books. If you'd like a soft cover, they are $259. I do have package deals available at thefearlessfloydshow.com/store on my website. If you'd like to do an a la carte package deal that I don't have available and you want to put something together, hit me up, thefearlessfloydshow@yahoo.com. I mainly hang out over on Telegram, so come hit me up over there. These two books are probably the only books you will ever need if you ever want to operate in trust, and everybody should at least research it and see if it's right for you and your family. Thank you for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. And I'll see you at the next show.